This is Jets Chaos with Jeremy. I am Jeremy, and I bring the chaos. And I think you know what we're going to talk about today. I think it's pretty obvious. We're going to talk about Brady Quinn, the turd that he is, ESPN, the garbage network that just proved how ridiculous they are and how pathetic they are. We'll be talking about that, and I think everyone here probably knows why. But we'll be doing that right after this. I would regret it if people look back at the first episode and you weren't on it.
Yeah, well, I like that. It's called forward thinking.
We have one of the worst beats in the world. We do. Our beat is horrible.
Connor could shove that article up his ass.
And then I went to that game, and I was like, this is the greatest team I've ever seen in my life. I'm a Jet fan. This is going to be the greatest run ever. Yeah.
No, because if they take Aquanu, I'm not complaining.
Joe Douglas is the king of keeping shit close to the vest.
A 2, a 4, and a 6 for Darnold.
Did the Jets really ruin Sam Darnold, or did Sam Darnold just suck all along and we were just trying to talk ourselves into it?
And Hamilton is a player who can potentially make a very big impact.
And suddenly here we are today, you can't get rid of him.
Right, it's like a plague.
Joe Douglas was hired because he's not those general managers.
Okay, Luscious.
Somebody is going to fall just like Elijah Moore did, just like Michael Carter did.
You know, what would, if you had one sentence to say to Joe Douglas, what would you say? So you would say, you had me at hello, and then give him a big old wet one right on the smack.
Yeah, we'll be getting into that. Let me just get my light on here so you can see me. We'll be getting into all that. Well, first, let's say hello to some people in the chat. We got Eminon, and he says snacks. Yeah, I got some snacks. I got some cookies. I got some Starburst. You know how I know my wife's been eating the Starburst? And because the way she eats it, she picks out the flavors. Because this is what happens. You get a jug of Starburst, right? You stick your hand in a hurry to grab something to bring upstairs before you go on air. And you grab 6, 7 Starburst, and 5 of them are orange. That's how you know when your wife has been in your Starburst jug. That's how you know. Because that's not random odds. That's because she eats all the good flavors and she leaves the orange for me. While I'm at work, that's what she's doing. Eminon, Vino, Dark Soldier, Jets Mess. What's up? Ready to talk business. Jets Fan United. What's up? Kane, The Undertaker's brother. What's up? Dark Soldier. Jason Zayas. What's up? Grandizer is here. Did I say him already? I may have, but I like to say him more than one time. Some guy is in the house. So those are just some people in the chat. And now let's get to business because right now I'm alone and that makes me vulnerable because I might not know what I'm talking about. So what do? I don't play that music. He's having a bad day, ladies and gentlemen. And I don't blame him. I'm feeling the pain. Not only did our hockey team lose, but we lost our best starter. I mean, it's every year. No matter what team we choose to like. It's just the same old thing. Injury after injury after injury. They're going to come back healthy on time. At least for the men. I know it. Please welcome the man who makes me look smart, if that's even possible. The man with the plan, the man with the information, the man who does the investigation. Please welcome Y2K99. Oh, he's all business today.
Let's get right to this right now.
All right, brother.
Because we're going to get to the Jets, everybody, but I need a few minutes to get this off my chest right now. All right. It's been an interesting day for me. The highlight was probably the Korean fried chicken and croffles that I got to try for free because I'm a Yelp Elite reviewer. Virgo on Yelp.com. I've been an Elite member for about 11 years. I know this is about the least shocking thing I've ever said in my life on this show. So there's different events. So I try some Korean fried chicken wings over a croffle. A croffle, by the way, is a fusion of a croissant and a waffle. So think a waffle, but with that croissant outside, super, super crispy, really good. I showed up at 10 a.m. because that was the only time I could go. And this place is 45 minutes away from where I live. So I had to go there, get there at 10, and then drive 45 minutes back to where I live and pretty much work. So I get there at 10 o'clock. I get the two ladies there who don't speak English. They were responsible for opening the store. And so eventually they had to get the owner on the phone to figure out why I was there, even though there's about 100 people who are coming for this event over the course of the week. Oh, on that note, the Mets just gave up a home run too. Arenado at 6-4. Yep, here we go. It's all falling apart even further. Mm-hmm. Yeah, food was good. Joe back, worked 11 to 8. Came back. Rangers have a 1-0 lead. And feeling pretty good. Now, keep in mind, as many of you know, you probably all know if you've watched much of our show, Raleigh, North Carolina holds a special place for me. I used to live down there. My mom is still in the area. It's about 3 hours from where I live right now. Thankfully, I live in Southern Virginia, so nobody here really gives a crap about them. There are only about 15,000 Hurricane fans, and they go to every game when the team is actually good. That's the truth. Okay. I was there 2 weekends ago. I saw one guy in 3 days with any Hurricanes gear on. They don't care. Let's make that clear right now. So 2.5 minutes go by. The minutes are ticking. Rangers are on their heel for the entire third period after playing a great first and second period. And I was just like, there's going to be a penalty or there's going to be a goal. And with the 2.5 minutes left, Sebastian frickin' Aho scores the goal, not the lousy one who plays for the Islanders, in case anybody's wondering. This is the good Sebastian Aho. And Shesterkin has no chance. Puck goes in. And it's like, it was going to happen. This is our chance because this is a game we have to take. Oh, and by the way, I bought my Game 7 ticket today. If they play Game 7, I'm going.
That's amazing.
Yes.
Is that in New York or in North Carolina?
In North Carolina, the weekend that we're together.
Oh, okay.
It's Memorial Day night, if by the grace of God it gets there. And then, so I'm like, oh my God. So it's a tie game. I'm like, this is probably going to overtime. I flip over to Twitter. I take a quick look. And the first tweet I see is from Dan Grassa, who does the Jets pre- and post games now on ESPN Radio. And he says, we just can't have nice things. And I thought to myself, wait a second, what's this guy talking about? This guy's a Devil fan. He didn't care about the Rangers. I scroll down a little further and I see Max Scherzer takes himself out of the game. The Bulldog, maybe the most competitive athlete in the world. This guy, you don't go near him. You don't go within 60 feet of him on days when he pitches. And he's got to take himself out of the game. Within 1 minute of each other, both these teams' seasons may have died. I even tried to go live for a minute, but YouTube, I couldn't get the thing to hook up. It was like waiting to go live, because I just had to let this out. So the fact is, I am in a very cantankerous mood right now. Just infuriating. When the Jets are the team that you feel best about, you know you're in trouble. You know you are in big, big trouble. So, all right, got that out. Glad I'm here. Let's have fun. Let's do a show. Thank you for giving me that 10-minute soapbox. I needed it.
Yeah. Hey, everybody give Buffalo Jets fans some love for that great show he just put on. Everybody give him love. Tell him how great he did because he was awesome. I think Ryan was shocked. Ryan was like, whoa, where'd this guy come from?
Buffalo.
But Buffalo is amazing, man. He's amazing. I've been on his show. It's amazing. It's amazing. Always great stuff. He has great questions, great ideas, great format. Everybody give Buffalo some love. He deserves a pat on his back right now. He deserves some credit for what he's doing. So make sure you give him that love. Adam, we need that love right now because our Mets and Rangers, I hear you, man. I'm feeling the pain.
Ugh,
but
it's brutal.
But right now, but we got the Jets. We're going to talk about the Jets. And let me tell you.
The Jets are making us feel better because nothing's going on. So, yeah, that's like a good day. When nothing happens, it's a good day.
Well, I am reacting a little bit. And some people say, oh, don't react to Brady Quinn. That's what he wants. He's too stupid to set that up because that's what he wants. He didn't say it to get us riled up and to get our attention. That wasn't the kind of conversation. It wasn't an article. He was being spoken to, and he gave his views. And this is so it's like that's giving him too much credit to say it was clickbait. It wasn't clickbait. He's a loser and a turd. Okay? This stinking loser with no talent, who Zach has more talent than his little pinky, who's just jealous because he's a failure and an embarrassment, and he's always going to be remembered as regret because the Brady Quinn selection is going to be remembered as regret forever for that entire fan base, regretting when they wasted their pick on that bum bust. So that's what I got to say about that.
I'm glad you didn't let it upset you, Jeremy. Yeah. Here's what I would say. Everybody is entitled to an opinion. To me, I don't care what kind of career he had. I could think of another quarterback who didn't exactly have a sterling NFL career, but we like the guy. You know what I'm talking about? Chris Sims. What did Chris Sims ever do in the NFL? Not a whole heck of a lot. Now, had some internal issues, like I think appendicitis or something like that. He had some issues that really helped to limit his career. But the fact is, the guy didn't really do anything in his career. Yet he loves Zach Wilson. So you know what? We love Chris Sims too. So the bottom line is this: I don't care who's given the opinion. I don't care if it's Peyton Manning. I don't care if it's Phil Sims. I don't care if it's Brady Quinn. I don't care if it's Harley Quinn. To me, it was just a dumb opinion. It's like, if he really feels that way, it just shows me he wasn't doing his research. He doesn't really pay attention to what's going on with this team. He's just going by how everything went last year. So to me, it didn't bother me all that much because, we win that first game. We beat any of those AFC North teams. We blow that prediction up right in his face. But 0-9, I mean, come on. This team is not going to go 0-9. So.
Yeah, I just want to say that with Chris Sims, at least, he backs up what he says and shows that he's done analysis. He could sit there and he could talk about each player. He could talk about the strengths. He could talk about their weakness. You could disagree or agree with him, Chris Sims. But what I respect about Chris Sims is he doesn't just talk from what he's heard. He doesn't just read an article or a headline or look at stats and look at a box score from the season and decides who's good and who's not good. The guy watches hours and hours of film, and he has some track record to back it up, right? I mean, he's said some things that made a lot of sense and has been backed up in the past. So it's all on video and it's all caught. And he admits and takes ownership and accountability of his mistakes. Something 95% of analysts that don't do is that he actually takes accountability when he's wrong. The thing that bothers me is it's so blatant and obvious that this guy didn't watch Jet games. That this guy is just, it's just like, oh, I don't believe in Zach Wilson. I'm not a believer in Zach Wilson. And no backup. Like, you're just going to throw that out there. You got a microphone, you're on TV, and you're going to say something like that. Fine. If you think Zach Wilson stinks, fine. You want to say he stinks? Fine. But give me a reason. Tell me why he stinks, and don't bring up the box score. Don't bring up the box score because now you're like a fifth, sorry, Buffalo. Now you're like a fifth grader. Now you have that level of understanding if you're going to use the box score as your reason for saying Zach Wilson stinks. Now, you see, now you just got yourself laughed out of the building. So give me a reason. Why does he think Zach stinks? I want a reason from this guy, this 2-bit phony fraud bust of a pick himself, why Zach Wilson's going to flop. And it's like, it feels like all these losers who disappointed and, live with regret of their own careers. Ryan Leaf, same crap. Ryan Leaf, crybaby, made excuses. Now he's, so he's been on the bandwagon of hating Zach Wilson from the day he was drafted. He even tried to compare his college records to him. Yeah, maybe I get excited. I get emotional. I'm not upset. I'm glad he said it because it just brings up my fire and my emotion and my belief in how good Zach is and how much I can't wait for Zach to prove these guys wrong and just make them look stupid and expose them for the ignorant guys that they are.
I got to be honest with you. Up until this all came out, I'm not even sure I knew Brady Quinn had a job in TV. You know, now, personally, I'd rather see Brady Quinn's sister on TV. That I think I would actually tune in for. I give that a little bit more attention. But for me, it was just like, okay, it's just another analyst. I mean, shoot, all the Patriot analysts, they get their time. They're going to hate on us every chance we get. We're still the punching bag. But anybody with a little bit of objectivity knows we're going to be better. And is the schedule difficult? Sure, the schedule is difficult. For now, we don't know how things are going to change. We don't know who's going to get injured. We don't know who's going to fall apart. We don't know who's going to pull off upsets. Who would have thought that Jacksonville would have beat Buffalo last season? How many knockout pools died that week because they were picking Buffalo over Jacksonville? So, you know what? You can't. It's getting harder and harder to pick the NFL every single year because there is so much parity and the changes can happen season to season. We've seen it happen with team after team. I don't even need to run down the franchises. We all know. So for me, this will fade out within a day or two. And and if we win our home opener against Baltimore, is the first thing we're really going to think about is Brady Quinn. I got to tweet at Brady Quinn and say, "Hey, up yours, you bust." No, let's just celebrate. Let's just be happy and celebrate with our fellow Jets fans and the people who do believe in us. So let's not give him that much more attention because if this is the biggest issue that we have is the opinion of Brady Quinn, we're in a good spot.
You're right, but I already made it the title of the show, so we might have to talk about it a little bit more.
That never stopped us before. Sometimes we get to the title of the show about an hour and a half in.
That's true. Welcome to the chat, PCR Riciopo. Am I saying that right? Riciopo. See, now Johnny is not the only name that we can't pronounce, right, Johnny? You see, there's other people too.
Riciopo?
Riciopo. Well, thanks for coming into the chat and joining that. Hopefully, you're sub to the channel, friend. Sub to the channel, you can be here more often.
Yeah, PCR after tonight, it's CPR. That's what I could use. It's a good thing I wasn't sitting in the wicker chair either. I might have actually punched through the back of the chair. So let's just be thankful that the chair is not here right now with me.
Yeah. I can't even find Brady Quinn on Twitter, man. Like, I typed in at Brady Quinn and nothing happened. The guy doesn't even have a blue check, and there was like 4 of them, so I couldn't even tell which one was the real one.
How many people actually want to be Brady Quinn?
That's right.
Just think about that. Oh, my goodness. That is, of all the people that you could pick, that's what you pick.
Yeah, I don't care if people are saying that they're not going to win, more than 7. It's fine. It's like that has nothing to do with how much they're going to win, right? And it depends who you're asking. If you're asking a bunch of people who aren't Jet fans, they're not watching, they're not paying attention like we are. And I'm not saying that they're definitely going to win more than 7 games. I'm not. Yeah. But if you're going to say that they're only going to win 6 games, or you're going to say that they're going to start the season 0-9, give me a reason other than, well, the AFC North is really hard. That's an impossible schedule. It's really tough teams. Who cares? The Jets beat Tennessee last year. They were the number 1 seed at the end of it. They beat the team that went to the Super Bowl in Cincinnati. To say that they're going to go 9 straight weeks and not scrape off a win, give me a break. Give me a break. Yeah. They have a lot more talent on their team than New England, and Miami's got as much talent as the Jets, if not more, but they don't got the quarterback. At least we don't think they do. I'm not going to say that factually, and I'm not saying that from statistics. That's why we're not like that. We're not just saying, oh, he's not good because he has bad stats. We're saying I'm not saying Tua is not good. I'm saying I'm not blown away or afraid of Tua from anything he's shown on the field so far. Whereas Zach already has shown some things on the field that if I was an opponent, I would be afraid of. Like, wow, when this kid gets time, this is going to be a problem for us. Tua is, they're going to eat us alive with short passes if you don't do something about it. Like, you have to understand what Miami is able to do and what Tua is able to do, and you need to find a way to stop it. But I'm not saying he stinks. I'm just saying he doesn't scare me the way Zach does. So I don't understand why anybody would be convinced that we're not going to either beat Miami or New England in one of those games, if not both, but at least one of them, and to automatically be saying that we're going to lose them. And I don't know why anybody would automatically say we're going to lose to Pittsburgh, because who are they even starting at quarterback? A rookie? Mason Rudolph? Trubinsky? Who are they starting?
Maybe they'll get like Tommy Maddox out of retirement. Maybe he's still around.
Maybe.
Yeah, you never know. Charlie Batch, maybe him. Yeah.
Jeremy, a butchering Italian names. That's me, baby. That's what I do. I butcher names. Yeah, I think, and Brad says the same thing. Most of these guys are just relying on Jets history. Like, it's easy to come in and say the Jets think, predict they're going to lose every year until you're wrong. So they're just playing the odds. But I prefer analysts who look at what's going on and, and are willing to give reasons and say the truth. But whatever. I'm not upset. You know why I'm not upset? Because I know the truth. And the truth is we have a very good roster that we're putting together. We have a very good future, and we're going to start seeing it translate to wins.
Yeah, I would agree. And I guess I almost feel like Miami should have gone out and done what we did in the offseason in terms of tight ends. I mean, they kept Gesicki, who is not a blocker. He's basically a big slot receiver. It would have made more sense to me if they went out and got maybe like an Uzama and or a Conklin. Instead, they go after a wide receiver who by far his greatest ability is that he goes deep. Still very agile. Don't get me wrong. His footwork and agility are impeccable, but you still have to get the ball in his hands first. That's the key. Can Tua do that? If we get the pass rush to him, he's not going to have a chance. So, that doesn't concern me all that much. Now, the running game looks, does look better on Miami than it did before, I would say. But no, I am not worried about Tua. I never have been worried about Tua. I'm actually glad that Miami still believes in him. Otherwise, I'd be convinced they were the ones trading for Baker Mayfield. That would concern me. I'm not the biggest Baker believer, but I think with that roster, he'd be pretty freaking good. So I'm glad the timing is working out the way. Please keep on believing in Tua. Please give Tua 2 more seasons. Please.
The only problem is they got a new coach. You're going to give him 1 year. He'll either prove everybody wrong and be the guy for them, or he'll more likely be realized as not the right guy because he's going to have too many limitations. The problem is that Miami has a ton of draft capital, and there's a lot of quarterbacks coming out next year. So if they figure it out, it's not going to be hard for them to find, a good opportunity to grab somebody who could be a good quarterback. So Miami's going to be a problem.
It's almost like a situation where you want them to be as mediocre as possible, like just miss the playoffs at like 8 and 9 or something like that. Because they do have quite a bit. They do have quite a bit of draft capital. So we don't want those picks to be too high. So.
Yeah, their GM has done a good job in setting them up to build them up to being a good team. That nobody could put down those trades. If you're gonna, if you're going to compare anybody to the trades that JD made or anything to the Jamal Adams trade, you gotta look at the moves Miami made, with San Francisco and how they just apparently fleeced the hell out of them. So, so look, the bottom line is there's just no reason to assume we're not going to compete with them. Like when you look at it on paper, there's just no reason to assume it. And the thing that scared me the most about Miami, to be honest with you, was their head coach. And they fired him and now got a new head coach. And now this new head coach has to learn and go through all the cycles, It's funny because when the Jets got Saleh and they brought in their coaching staff, all people could talk about was no experience, blah, 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 blah. But then this guy comes in from San Francisco, who's even lower than LaFleur on the totem pole. And everybody's sitting there saying genius, 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 like he can't fail. You know who else they said was a genius and an offensive guru when he came in to both Miami and the New York Jets?
Tony Sparano.
How about Adam Gase?
And Adam Gase. The quarterback. That's the quarterback whisperer. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
The one who made the mean cup of coffee for Peyton Manning. I've heard of him. I wish I hadn't. But I was actually going even further back. Oh my gosh!
Don't do it then. No.
Oh boy,
Rob V, what's going on? I didn't even get to say hello to people. I'm just going on a tangent. Big Green, Brad Finkelstein, Skills Baby in the house. Skills Baby. I hope you have subscribed to the channel. Got to remind people I see that I don't recognize from the chat all the time. That make sure that they're subscribed so they can see us again. V-Man wants to come on. Hey, man, that's Friday nights that we do those hangouts. We got a potential guest tonight, but thank you for your offer. If I ever need you, I know I could send you the link. I appreciate it, buddy. Salty Nuts is here with us. Would hate to see one of these shows go on without Salty Nuts in the chat. And Sean McAteer is in.
Good job. Good job. I'm pretty sure you got that one right.
Sean McAteer is in the house. What is up? So we won't talk about the guy or the organization that put the Jets, basically ESPN. I just have to say this one more time. And it's weird because people say clickbait. Well, why did they pick on us? Like, would ESPN go out there and say that based on their rankings, that the Detroit Lions would be an 8.5 point favorite over the Jets on neutral territory? Like, why would they? Who came up with that?
Let's see. What did Detroit do? Detroit had a nice draft between Hutchinson and Jameson Williams if he gets on the field this year. But what did they do this offseason that made them so great? I mean, who's the best player on the Detroit Lions right now? St. Brown? I mean, Jeff Okudah can't get on the field to save his life. I mean, is it Jared Goff? I mean, what in the world about Detroit would scare us?
Yeah, I don't understand. I mean, they played tough. I'm nothing against Detroit or to attack them, but why would you rank them so far ahead of us that they would be favored by 8 points? Same thing with the Giants. They got the Giants like 7 slots above us. What did the Giants do to deserve to be ranked that high?
Ooh, I mean, that third string offensive guard that they signed, that was really intimidating. Losing James Bradbury must be addition by subtraction. I can't figure out what in God's name are they thinking about. The Giants, I mean, the Giants are a laughing stock at this point. They have like a worse winning percentage than we do over a recent period of time. I mean, they are anemic. And hey, I'm glad they grabbed a couple of guys out of Buffalo. I am more than glad that they did that. Yeah. So, but you know what? I personally have never hated the Giants. Now, some of their fans, I think, especially in the early 2010s, yes. That's when I really had a problem with them. Because that's when there was like a little bit more of a rivalry, especially during those Rex years. And, I don't know what it's going to take, but I still can't get over Victor Cruz in that one game, that one play. Because the Jets have never recovered from it. Yeah. So to me, and I'm sorry to bring that up, but for me, that is still one of the most. There's certain losses that are bad, and you feel like they're the worst in the moment, but you get over them after a little bit. That is one of those losses that is like I can tell you where I was, what I was doing, who I was watching the game with. It's out of here, Pete Alonso with a home run. And exactly what I ate that morning, because I was in San Diego, so it was like one of those. It was a breakfast bar, and where I went afterwards. Like I remember that day vividly, and yeah, it is. And because of that, I still have like a little bit of an itch for the Giants now. Ever since that day. But what does make them so good? The only thing, I will say this, the only thing that I could give a little bit of credit to with the Lions and Giants is they play in a much weaker conference. Maybe they have a much easier strength of schedule than the Jets do. That is the only argument you can make that I could think of.
Yeah, they just don't seem to be able to deliver. I mean, they go and they lose to Washington most of the time now. Like last year, like they don't even compete against Dallas. Dallas is at another level. They're not even competitive against Dallas, and I think the Eagles are gonna whoop them both times because
Philly's gonna be good. Yeah, I think it's a 2-horse race, Dallas and Philly for that division. Yeah. I really like what Philly's doing. If Hurts is the real deal, I think they win that division.
Yeah. So anyway, look, so they're beating us up too. It's just gonna make it all that much better when we win, right? I mean, that's how I'm looking at it now. All that much better when we win. Like we get to just say, I told you so. We just get to shut everybody up and then watch them jump on the bandwagon next year when they see what this team is going to be.
So. Well, all of a sudden we're going to get love. We're going to get props. We're going to get our primetime games. And then we'll be concerned, boy, I hope all this hype doesn't go to their head. There's always something to be either aggravated about, afraid of, if you want to. So sometimes you almost have to try. This is like the time to almost take your emotions out of it just a little bit before training camp and the roster cuts and all of that, and the preseason games and all of that begin. And you really like take an assessment of where this team is by themselves and where they are in comparison to the rest of the league. And, conferences, we all know, has gotten a lot better, but the Jets, I think, have gotten a lot, they're making that same rate of increase in terms of their talent and their ability and the chance that they have to have success. So a good start is going to be enormous for this team. We know what the first half is like of the schedule, and we know what the second half of the schedule is going to look like also. So as I'm saying, if they could somehow come out of that first 9-game stretch 5-4, it would be unbelievably exciting. That and a clean bill of health. I would take 4-5 with a relatively clean bill of health. And who wouldn't sign up for that?
No, wouldn't.
Yeah.
So Matthias Simon says the Eagles will kill the Giants. I agree. Matthias is I believe, an admin for a Jets Facebook page, right, Matthias? Is that true? I think I saw your name as an admin, or someone told me that you were. You should put that in the chat. Let people know what group you are part of on Facebook, so people have the opportunity to join the group. So, definitely put that up there. And Salty Nulty or Salty Nuts. I like that better, Salty Nulty. Maybe Green Bean could have Salty Nuts, and I'll just call him Salty Nulty.
And if he's ever wrong, and if he's ever wrong, he would be Faulty Salty Nulty.
Yeah, Faulty Salty Nulty. We beat Cincy and Tennessee last year, and we have significantly improved. I know. That's my point. And we didn't just beat them because they didn't have injuries. We had the injuries. We beat Cincinnati. We beat Cincinnati with our backup quarterback. We just beat them. We beat Tennessee with Henry. That's
Yeah, back when they still had Henry. Yep, that's a very good point.
Yeah.
So Cincy, I don't even know how to feel about it, just because Zach Wilson wasn't in the game. I feel like, it was a fun win. It was a great win, but now it feels almost different just because our quarterback wasn't involved. And there's no way Cincinnati's overlooking us this time around. So that is like one game where I almost feel, even though it's home, I'm about as optimistic about that game as I am about maybe Green Bay on the road coming off the London game. That home game against Cincy really has me unsettled. Yeah, well, they're going to want to. They're not going to sleep on us now. Obviously, they're going to come in with raging. So, but the point is that we played very quality. Like even the loss to Tampa, right, which very easily could have been a win. The point is the team, when it gelled, when it worked, and against Tampa, that was backups, man. We were really just playing our second team. It just shows the system, and when it was working, and when the players learned the system by the end of the year, and Zach was just finding a way, making clutch plays when he needed to. It might not show up in the box score, but man, he led that team. He led that offense that game. He went drive for drive, right up there against Tom Brady, man. He wasn't intimidated, didn't back down, even though Tom Brady was on the other side. He hung in there the whole game. So I don't see, with all those improvements, how people think we're going to just be the same team as last year and we're not going to come in and win some more games. And by the way, all these teams that everybody's saying is so good are not all going to be good. Every year, teams have disappointing years. We've talked about that before. It's like it doesn't work out for every team. Baltimore might continue to be on a little bit of a slide. Lamar Jackson hasn't been as good the last year and a half, right? Pittsburgh just lost Ben. Now, they have a great coach. They're a great organization, but we don't know they're not going to be a 9-8 team. It's going to be interesting. If we have our offensive line where it needs to be, I think we're going to need Becton to contain TJ Watt. I really want to see Watt versus Becton. To me, that is a marquee matchup. If Becton if he could contain Watt, if that's where Watt lines up, we'll know what's going on. Now, it might be Fant, but I really want Becton Watt. That would be amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Green Bean is in the house saying
Yeah.
that we only won because they looked past us. Now, he didn't really say it like that, but they were trap games, but we still had to step up and win and beat them. And we still had to play at a very high level to win those games.
And you know what? Yeah.
Especially when we went to like overtime with Tennessee, right? I mean, it's not like we shocked them and the game got out of hands. Like they had plenty of time to wake up and realize they were in a game.
Let everyone sleep on this team. Teams sleep on us so much. We put other teams in comas. Okay, playing us. Yeah, if that's the case, playing us is like taking an overdose of NyQuil.
Yeah, I mean, look, it is true. We've seen it happen when teams make that turn. We've seen teams like have a good year. They break out with a good year, and they struggle the next year. And I think one of the reasons why is sometimes that team gets confident and they stop that, like, I don't want to be corny, but like the eye of the tiger, you know what I mean? They start to believe they're good, so all of a sudden they don't have that fight anymore. And then other teams in the league now approach them differently as if they're good. And suddenly you see a team take a step back, and in the third year they come back again. I've seen that a lot. I don't know that it's going to happen with this coaching staff and this kind of team. I just think we have the right kind of players, leaders. At least that's what I'm hoping. But yeah, let the other team sleep on us. Whatever, we'll take it, right? I mean, we'll take every win.
Yeah.
Like maybe Baltimore will think they have a nice, easy opening game. The problem with the opening game is everybody comes out hard on opening game. Like opening day, everybody comes out and plays hard.
And it's the number one time for overreaction because half the team is unbeaten and half the league hasn't won a game yet.
Yeah.
And but then again, after what we've been through, and I broke it down last Thursday with on Green Bean Show, we have lost so much recently on opening day that, we talk about the month of September. Opening day is not much better. I mean, we've lost, I think, 5 of our last 6 opening day games. The last time we won was, of course, against Detroit. Sam Darnold's breakout game, his first game on Monday night. We need to change that. We need to create good, positive vibes. Because if we were to win just one game, do you know how fired up this fan base is going to be?
Yeah,
we're going to be nuts. We're going to be uncontainable. We are going to become the most annoying fan base in the NFL, and I embrace that title.
Yeah, and believe me, I for one know how to be really annoying. Hey, I want to welcome Submission 72. Welcome back to the chat. I haven't seen you in a little bit, so I'm glad to see you. Submissions. Jet Otis Brown, you seem new to the chat to me, so welcome. Everybody welcome Jeff Otis Brown. Hopefully you're subbed to the channel. If you're not and you like the content and you want to see more of it, feel free to sub. Rob V, I love when they doubt us. Makes it even better when we start to change the narrative and win and the media hops on. Yeah, man, I like it. And look, we have plenty of evidence that we were here from the beginning, right? That we're not just jumping on late. That's the one good thing about doing this. The risk is we look stupid later when some of our takes, blow up in our face. The reward comes when, if the Jets win 10 games this year, I'll just sit there and smile and be like, yeah, what up? So, we do have that. Anyway, Buffalo wants to bring us and put us back to business. What's the most intriguing positional group matchup within the AFC East? Oh, that's easy for me. I want to see the Jets secondary go up against Miami Dolphins wide receivers.
Yeah, makes sense to me. Yep, this secondary has made, man, it is so different. And yeah, to think about a year ago, just over a year ago, we thought we had the worst secondary in football. And now look where this is. It is friggin' awesome. Our secondary is so good that our starting cornerbacks last year are on the bench and people are upset about it. And we're trying to move players around to figure out how we can get them as much playing time as possible. What a great problem to have.
Yeah.
That makes me pretty freaking happy.
Can you imagine? I'm just imagining Tyreek Hill lines up, Sauce Gardner. Right. And people say, oh, Tyreek Hill, Super Bowl, tons of experience, Sauce Gardner, rookie. But then I say, who's throwing the ball to Tyreek Hill?
Yeah, there's the dotted line, the rainbow, it ends here, and Hill's like out there somewhere. That's what it's going to look like. So, but again, I believe that Miami may as well go to the Wildcat offense again. that would probably be in their best interest. Wildcat, screen passes, a lot of running. They just got, what was it, who did they get? Chase Edmonds they got at running back, I believe.
Mm.
Yeah. So, using him a lot more. Gaskin. I mean, the best thing that could happen to Miami during their games is they get up early and don't need Tua to bring them back. They're going to be at the time. They're almost going to be a little bit like us. They're going to want to control the clock. So, yeah. They have a very good secondary like we do. And Jalen Phillips, very good rookie pass rusher last year. He had a good season, and he kept getting better as the year went on. They kept Emmanuel Ogbah too. I was really hoping he was going to leave them, but now I'm just hoping he's a one-year wonder. So,
Yep. And I'll tell you another matchup that I wouldn't mind seeing that I'm looking forward to as far as a challenge for us is just to know, especially if we stay healthy and we're healthy, I'm looking forward to seeing how good our offensive line is and see how we do against Buffalo and their defensive line.
That's interesting. I was actually thinking the opposite. I was thinking the Bills' offensive line against our defensive line.
Oh, okay.
I was. The battle of the trenches.
The battle of the trenches.
That's it.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to both our offensive and defensive line every week. I can't wait to see if we again, I can't say it enough. They got to stay healthy, but I want to see what's going to happen. Like, there's so many question marks for us, but they're exciting ones. Like JJ, is he going to be good right away? And like it's exciting and nerves are going and like you want to see this rookie and what he's got. Carl Lawson coming back from that horrible injury. You want to, you can't wait to just see. Are they going to come back and be what you think they can be? And if they are, and it comes together and it works, just think of the magic that's going to come from our defensive line. If Carl Lawson comes back and he's what we thought he was a year ago, and if JJ looks dynamic and Q Williams, man, because of that, finally gets the surrounding players to shine and really show what he can do. And because we've seen it in moments, we've seen what Q Williams could do in certain moments. And then JFM in the middle excites me, man.
Yes.
There's a reason we paid this guy that and gave him that contract.
No, there absolutely is. And I think he went outside because Lawson got hurt. I think he went there by default. I am still hopeful to sign Larry Ogunjobi and let Sheldon Rankins go. I'm not going to get off that until basically the season starts. It is still something that I want because I am still very nervous about this run defense. When we face run-heavy teams, I'm going to be concerned. I'm going to be concerned about New England, about Minnesota. That's a pretty easy one. But that is, to me, that'll be the biggest mark of this defense. So, but the pass rush fuels everything. The pass rush not only makes life easier for the secondary, but it can make life a lot easier for the offense because then you get 3 and outs, then you can get turnovers, then you force the other team to take penalties because all of a sudden they're holding, they're grabbing, they're blocking, they're clipping, they're doing all these things. And when they're home, that's just going to make the crowd that much more intense, that much more rowdy. And all of a sudden, imagine this: the Jets actually have a home field advantage. The whole thing snowballs, guys. We could really start to see that this year. So, yeah, that's something I'm excited about. I'll give you one other positional matchup. Now, this one's a little bit tricky, but depending on how this team's defense chooses to play. But I have so much respect for Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer, the Bills safeties. I am looking forward to seeing our tight ends go against them. Yeah. Just that sort of a matchup. Conklin and Uzomah against Hyde and Poyer. And that to me is going to be very, very interesting.
Just think of MetLife Stadium.
MetLife Stadium is not a bad way to say
it. When Conklin slides out into that slot, one-on-one against a linebacker or whoever it is, and just goes over the top and breaks a slant and gets hit, just reaches up and sucks down one of Zach's passes. How loud are our fans gonna go? I mean, when that first time we get one of those kind of plays, or whoever it is, whichever the tight ends, it could be any of the three, but just imagine how loud it's going to be. The first big catch that's made by one of those big guys.
Yeah, I just want to see a home game when we have a winning record. When this team has a home game, because we are so starved. We're at the point now. We are so thirsty. We would crawl through a desert and drink the sand if we could, just to see if there's any water in it. So, but at the same time, we have to remember to not mistake mediocrity for greatness. Excuse me. So we're going to see improvement. I have every confidence we will see improvement as the year goes on. And let's embrace the winning, but let's be as real as we can about where they are and where they're going, because they may get to that level. We don't know what this team's ceiling is going to be, but it's a lot higher than what a lot of people think. So I think if everything goes right, for me, I could see them winning 10 games. I think if everything went exactly how we would want it to go, that is realistic. Do you feel that's reasonable, or do you think it's more?
No, I think that that's about what the ceiling is. I mean, anything could happen. I mean, it's happened in the history of the NFL, but I think our ceiling, when I say our range, it's 7 to 10 wins.
Yeah,
and that's what I'm feeling. I'm feeling 7 to 10,
and that's like what 20 teams in the league. Their ranges, they should be getting somewhere between 7 and 10 wins anyway.
Well, for some teams, the 7 to 10 is a bad season, and for some teams, it's a good season. For us, 9 or 10 is a great season.
Usually, we usually have 4 to 6 teams that are going to be double digits. 4 to 6 teams that are in the cellar, and the rest are kind of in the middle. That's kind of where I'm going with that.
Yeah. Like 7 is digestible, depending on how it happens. 8 is certainly okay. I mean, it just brings us back to reality. It's like, okay, we won 2 games, then we won 4 games, now we won 8 games. We're on the right trajectory. We just weren't able to right away turn it around that quickly, and the team's got to get experience. But again, it's like not only about the 7 to 10 games that we win or lose, or if we go 7 and 10, whatever it is, it's the reasons why that matter too. It can't be because Zach didn't play well. That would be awful, awful, awful news for us. So,
and even if it's injuries, I mean, we can't, we've been using that for a while. Eventually, it's like, how many more times can you use the injury reason? Even if it is true, at some point, you know what? You have to accumulate the depth that can succeed in spite of the injuries, where you feel the loss, but you still win a game. Like you pull out a Ray Lucas, for instance, at quarterback, and you pull out some victories, and you get the fan base excited again. So you know what? Injuries hurt. They don't necessarily have to cripple.
I like it. And, well, I mean, and that's goes to having depth. And that's, but part of it is luck. We have to hope that if we have to have injuries, that it's where we have depth, like not in the areas where we're still building. Because again, if you go look what the roster looked like 17 months ago, look at the roster after Gase left, and as everything started to happen, that roster to today, we did as good as you can imagine doing. But it takes a little bit more time until you're going to have a deep 53 from top to bottom. And it feels like we're on the way. It does. I don't know if any team ever is completely deep all the way down to 53, but it certainly feels like championship teams are close to it. Submissions. I don't care so much about what his opinion is. It's just that, and I don't, believe me, really care.
What's the base of his opinion? That's what we're taking issue with.
I care as a sports fan, right? But like in real life, same thing when I say Brady Quinn's a turd and I hate his guts. I don't hate his guts like when he goes home to his family. If I serve him in the street, I hate him as an analyst. So, so what I'm saying is he didn't back it up. Just give a reason. Like, I don't know, man. If someone says, do you like this player? I don't just say he stinks and stop talking. I usually give a reason. If I'm going to say somebody stinks, I'm usually going to give a reason. I'm going to say he stinks. I watched him play. I don't think he's able to read defenses. He looks overwhelmed. He has happy feet. I'm going to give all the different reasons why I think he stinks. Right? But I'm not going to just sit there and say he stinks, because to me that just has, I look at the box scores, that's what I see. I see a guy, I see laziness. And when you're getting paid as an analyst, when that's your job and that's your living, You should at least do the research and be able to back up what you say. I mean, I'm trying to do that and back up what I say, and this ain't my living. Nobody's paying me anything, right? So, and I'm putting the time out of just loving it. So you'd think somebody who has a microphone is getting paid a whole bunch of money in a suit on TV would at least put the time in. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, while I spend all this time in the makeup chair, hey, look up some stats on the internet. Go pull out a magazine or something like that. You have the time. You have 2 functioning eyeballs, I think. So use them.
Yeah.
So where are we getting our first win of the season?
We're getting it at home versus Baltimore.
I was going to say, yeah, here's my answer. In the month of September. How about that? I think we will win. We will, if we don't beat Baltimore, we will beat Cleveland. We will not go 0-2. I'm going to definitely predict that.
Yeah, we're going to beat one of those 2 teams. We're going to be 1-1. I'm, hopefully 2-0. I don't know. I'm not going to predict 2-0. I'm just not going in thinking, oh, look at our schedule. We can't win a game. I'm not doing it. I refuse. We have too much talent on this team for me to now ever say that again. Like, I'm just not having that mentality. I know it's going to be tough. Like, I'm not thinking we're going to go into Green Bay and saying, oh, no problem, we got this. Look, did you see how bad Rodgers was against the Niners in the playoffs? Like, I'm not doing that. I know it's going to be a dogfight, and every game is hard. And, even when we play a so-called easy team, I don't believe it. I'm the same way for every game. Every game, I'm ready for a war.
We could beat almost anybody, and we can lose to just about anybody.
Yeah, that's the state of the team right now.
It really is. There are going to be a number of games where if you go to an article on like ESPN, Fox Sports, Bleacher Report, wherever you like to read your sports analysis, or whatever radio station you listen to, and people are talking about, man, so who are your big movers of the week? Who made an impact? Oh, man, the Jets. You see the way they played this game? They came back, and the way they played this game, they took this team to the – they may not even be winning the game, but if they give the Green Bay or Denver like one of those battles, or even Buffalo, people are going to start coming around on them. I think there's going to be quite a few times when that happens this season. So I think slowly we are going to become one of the real revelations of the NFL.
Yeah. And this is a good point. I mean, there's injuries and there's injuries. Last year was
Okay. Let's see.
Starting left tackle, your best edge. I mean,
now with Becton, it didn't turn out too horribly because we did have Morgan Moses to plug in. But LaMarcus Joyner, who did we plug in? Sheldrick Redwine.
That killed us. That lost us that game. I mean, I'm not going to say 100% fact, but it's a different game if they don't have that wide open touchdown to Anderson.
That was all on Redwine, and there's a reason he was gone within weeks.
Yeah.
We're going to have other games, so we should be able to win since we have good depth. You know what's interesting? We talk a lot about how quick it can take to turn around an NFL team. But is it supposed to take like 5 years to build all the depth that we keep wanting, that we keep talking about? I mean, does that? It seems like that takes a whole lot longer.
Yeah.
The Jets have the biggest gap between their ceiling and floor in 2022. They're a true wild card. I'm trying to think who else I would throw in that mix. I think Cleveland's got quite a gap. I think you can make a good argument for them.
Jacksonville?
How high is this? That is a weak division. That is a very weak division.
On a lot of players. If it works, if it hits.
We've tried that before and it didn't exactly work out.
Yeah, we know, but sometimes it does temporarily. Like it might give you that one good season and then you fall apart because of how you built it. But
you know who it's all on? Doug Peterson. That he's got to bring that thing together. And the AFC West, that's an interesting one because we feel like we know what Kansas City is. We figured the Chargers are going to have a good season. The Raiders added Adams, and then you had Denver. Raiders and it's hard. Is it me or is it hard to imagine any AFC West team finishing with less than 7 wins?
It's hard to see any of those.
Somebody's got to lose.
But it just happens, right? I mean, that's what I keep saying. Everybody thinks every team is automatically going to be good from the last year, but that's not the way the NFL works. The Raiders can come out and end up going 6-11 because Devontae gets hurt or Carr gets hurt. It happens. Somebody, and all these teams get hurt, right? Injuries are part of the game. So just like we got decimated with injuries, who's that team that's going to get decimated with injuries? 2 years ago, it was Dallas. They lost their starting quarterback, 4 or 5 games into the season. There's always someone. There's a team that doesn't have injuries and disappoints because of controversy, or something stupid happens in their locker room. There's a team that disappoints because of injury. These things happen all the time. Now, the team that I can't see being bad unless there's an injury to their quarterback is San Diego. I mean, on paper, they are terrifying. They're just wow, that team is good. They have crazy talent on that team.
Yeah, who did they? Yeah, they added. I was so disappointed when they kept Mike Williams. I really wanted him. Yep, they added Khalil Mack. They added J.C. Jackson.
Yeah,
man alive. Yeah, like who's wait? So if wait, I'm gonna pull this up real quick. If they were to lose, who's their backup quarterback? Do you know?
Well, he left, right? So.
Oh, Chase Daniel, I think.
No, okay, that was the Raiders who lost their quarterback.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, it looks like it's. It looks like it's Chase Daniel. So, yeah, but wide receiver, who did they? Yeah, didn't they require another wide receiver? Mike Williams, DeAndre Carter, Michael Giacchino. It doesn't look like it. All right, so maybe it was running back. I know they use like a premium pick somewhere. Oh yeah, Josh Kelly. Yeah, he's a pretty good one too. So. Yeah.
There are very few teams whose season doesn't hinge on their quarterback staying healthy, right? I mean, it's pretty much whose season doesn't hinge on their quarterback staying healthy? Miami, because if Tua gets hurt, you bring in Bridgewater.
Yeah, I was going to say New England, but is Hoyer still their backup? I feel like Brian Hoyer's been their backup since we've all been alive.
He left for a while and then came back. So.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that when Drew Bledsoe was drafted, Brian Hoyer was there to welcome him with a gift basket. I'm pretty sure that's what happened.
I think the Jets may deserve some of that media attention. I do not, however, imagine it will come. Well, we'll see. Winning brings attention. And I just want to go back to the 2-2. If we go 2-2, I had that highlighted for a while and then I lost it. If we go 2-2, against the AFC North. Remember, to me, if we were to go into the bye week with 4 to 5 wins, then we're in the playoff picture based on our schedule after the bye week.
That's right.
We have 4 or 5 wins. We could end up with 9 or 10 wins, very realistically, So that's one of the advantages of having the tough part of your schedule up front. Is in some ways it's bad, but in other ways is if you fight through the first part of the season and manage to scrape off some wins, and now you're used to the highest level of competition, and now as long as they stay focused and it's not trap games and they play hard against every team, we can end up winning the last 5 out of the 6 games of the year. And not only would that be great for this season, but that would be great for our future.
And keep this in mind: of those first 9 games, 8 of them are against the AFC. Only 1 game is not, and that's Green Bay. So when you start to think about that playoff picture, you got to think about tiebreakers, and winning AFC games is how you create that advantage. And that's how you get in the hunt, and that's how you create a better opportunity to make the playoffs and to have an exciting Week 17, Week 18. So, yeah, those AFC you got to look for those winnable AFC games. I mean, I don't like to use the words must win. I think there's certain things that get very overused. I think must win is right up there. Like, we need to win this. This is a must win. But to me, if there is one, it's that home game against Miami, October 9th. That is a game you have to take. If you're going to have, to me, any kind of a serious season, you have to beat the Miami Dolphins. And I would say be 3-2. I would go that far after the first 5 games. I want to split against the North and beat Miami. And then in the next 4 games, you have at Green Bay, at Denver, home against New England, home against Buffalo. You know what? And if losing 3 out of 4 would hurt, but if that's the way that it went and they could beat one of those teams, preferably one of the AFC teams, I guess I would have to take that because you have 4 AFC, 4 AFC wins, and I would take that going into the bye.
That's the roughest part of the schedule, without far. By far the roughest part of the schedule. So that's going to be a difficult 4 weeks for us. It's going to be rough. But on the flip side of that, if we go 2-2 in those 4 games, we're going to be going ballistic. If we split the first bunch of games and then split those 4 games, we're going to be feeling pretty good. But we have to beat Miami not only because of who we're playing after that, and for the record, we have to beat Miami because we have to start winning division games. Otherwise, we're not real. We're not real until we can win division games. You can't just be a team in your division that loses and goes 0-6 to your division every year. Like it cannot be. Like that's one of the first things that we have to change the narrative of. We have to end that. Like we must start beating teams in our division. I mean, it starts there. If you can't do that, forget about it. You can't just sit there and rely on easy schedule and playing games like Jacksonville and hope it's easy, or Chicago or Seattle without a quarterback. You can't. To be consistent and to be a real competitor, we have to be able to win division games. And that's this year. That's got to be an important focus for this team. We got to figure out how to beat teams in our division.
I mean, somehow those teams don't overlook us, do they?
No.
No. And it's not like we give these games away. We just flat out get beat down by the AFC East. Time after time. We might hang around for a little bit, but it's not as if there's situations where we're blowing these late leads. It feels like most of the times we're just out of the game almost immediately. And it's time for that to stop. I'm tired of Buffalo, Miami, and New England fans looking at their schedule because, let's be honest, they all do it. They say, yeah, well, we know we can count at least 2 wins on our schedule because we got the Jets.
Yeah.
Kelly, I agree with you. Yeah. It does worry me, the Patriots' ability to run the football.
We definitely have to step up, stop the run, and stop screen passes, defend the screen this year. We have to. That has to be part of the change. Like it's more than just the players. It's scheme, whatever it is, that like the space that we were allowing defensively in some of those games, the amount of space is just it's not sustainable. You can't be a winning team and do that. So we're gonna have to start seeing what we're gonna do to change that. So yes, New England's always gonna be difficult, I think, and I agree, until if we're not able to stop the run effectively and we're not able to stop screen passes and the short stuff, we're going to be in a lot of trouble.
Didn't Coach actually say, I know our defense is working, except the one thing is the screen passes, the way that we played, it typically is going to be vulnerable to screen passes. I could have sworn he said that at some point during the season. Does that sound familiar? Because I thought I remember him talking about that. That's like the one drawback of of playing the pass rush the way they do and the secondary the way they do. So that's just something to keep in mind.
Yeah, but
the pass rush helps neutralize it. That's the thing with it.
Right. We just have to look. We just have to make it work the way it worked in San Francisco.
Yeah. When's Bosa coming over? We got Solomon Thomas. By the way, just on a side note, this is football related, but I just saw a picture that was sent out of, and those of us who are wrestling fans, this is going to get us to Steve Mongo McMichael, who's been battling ALS for a little bit now, and now he's completely bedridden. He's lost his ability to speak, to swallow, and he's paralyzed from the waist down at this point.
Oh, jeez.
So, Coach Mike Singletary just visited him today with his wife, and they just posted a picture. And I swear Mongo's probably under 100 pounds now.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah,
that sucks.
That disease. It's insidious disease.
Yeah, that's just shitty.
Yeah. So I'm sorry to bring the mood down, but I just wanted to say a prayer for his family. Good thoughts, good vibes, whatever you want to do. But
no, that's a bummer, man. That's
just for his family.
Yeah, hopefully, man. There's nothing you can't even say. You hope he's okay. I mean, you just gotta
not with that.
Just wish the best for the family and hope whatever it is, there's not too much pain and suffering.
That's the thing. It's one of those you almost don't want them to hurt anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Just let him.
Was it the guy who played for the Saints who blocked the punt in the first game back after Katrina? Gleason? Was it Steve Gleason? Or I believe his name's.
I don't know.
Punt? And he still has ALS. He's still alive. He's had it for a while, and he's still living. Well, so he's still going. So that guy's he's something else.
Well, I mean, what's his face? The genius guy went years and years. He it's a modern. Yeah, Hawkins. What Stephen Hawkins did was just unheard of. he was supposed, like he just didn't die. Like he just was able to live. It's just amazing. But yeah, it's a horrible disease, man. It's just an awful, awful disease.
All right. So let's see what else is going on. Sean, we can win all those games. I'm trying to figure out which ones he's referring to here. Is this back up a little bit?
So submissions is asking for a positive that we saw of the defense. Well, I'll tell you, there were games where the defense actually played well, and I think they broke down when our offense was going 1, 2, 3 and out, 1, 2, 3 and out, 1, 2, 3 and out, and then finally our defense would crack. The other thing I'll say is, our defense did, and I'm not trying to make it. Our defense was 32nd in the league, and it's got a lot of work to do. And I think we began that. We started drafting a lot of good players, but there were injuries. It's not like there weren't injuries. Like Carl Lawson was an important piece, and it wasn't just Lawson. I mean, we had safety. We were 7 deep on safety. I mean, literally, our safeties 1 through like the first 2 safety, the starting 2 safeties gone, the 2 guys that replaced them gone. I mean, we were literally using scrap heap guys, and then Sherwood, who you hope is going to improve throughout the season, gets hurt and he's gone. Now you get Quincy Adams, who actually played okay considering we got him off the scrap heap. I mean, it was a rough year. It was like we were beat up. We were missing guys. Now I'm not. Again, it's we can't keep making that excuse. That's why you build depth on a team. But look, it's not the same defense now. Let's look like Lawson is now. I mean, look what you're gonna have. You're gonna have Carl Lawson on the field now. You're gonna have JJ is on this team now, and we don't know. He might have an impact his rookie year. He might not. But I'm just saying, it's a hope. Like it's someone who might be very good. We have Sauce Gardner that's going to be on this team now. Whitehead, Reed, LaMarcus Joyner is now hopefully healthy and stays healthy.
Hopefully, Vinny Curry, Bradley and Jacob Martin, Solomon Thomas.
Yeah, but I'm talking about 6 starters.
Yeah, and something. Well, we're going to take the D line so much that it's gonna change. I mean, linebacker. We had linebackers. I don't think we had linebackers who played like 80-90% of the snap. Like Hugh was only playing. People were getting on Quinn and Williams for a stat. He only played 2/3 of the snaps, and he played as much as anybody outside of JFM. That's the way that they do it, So these defensive linemen, when they have a chance on the field, they know they got to make an impact because if they don't, their butts are going to get dragged off the field, and coach is going to put somebody else in who can do the job, or he's going to give them a chance to. But we look at the defense last year. We only had – how many games we had where we allowed 20 points or less? Pardon me, my allergies are kicking in a little bit, but I'm all right. Yeah, 2. And one of them was opening day against Carolina. And the other one was when we played Houston, and JFM looked like, Deacon Jones in that game. That was like the one game in the second half where he looked amazing. Every other game we allowed 20 points or more. But it's not – only the personnel that we got to think about here, submissions. You got to think about the way they play. We played a very vanilla, bend but don't break, unaggressive defense because they were trying to limit, there's another catchphrase, the explosive plays. That's what they're all about doing. So if that means they're going to play back, that's why they didn't blitz as much. Okay, so I think if you have better players, in the secondary, then you have more of an ability to blitz, to send an extra pass rusher. So they may start doing that a little bit more. But it's not just who they're playing, but it's how they're playing. So in terms of carrying over from last year, I don't think there's much to carry over because the players are going to be different and the formations are going to be a little different too.
When you want to think about something, think about what happened when we were able to get to the quarterback. Think about what it was like and how different it looked. Now, I know that, like, in some of those games, it was because the offensive line for the other team was weak. But now that we're going to have a completely revamped defensive line, maybe we can do that more often. It might not be 7 sacks but in the game, but it might be 2 or 3, but a lot of pressures. It's a tremendous difference. But my point is, there is going to be, without the rotation, which is the starting 11 on the field, 6 of them will be new. 6 new names on the field. or not new, but healthy because they were out. But 6 people that weren't on the field all year out of the 11. That's more than half. That's a different defense. And
Now,
it doesn't mean the 5 that are still on the field are bad. Because you're talking about Q Williams still being on the field and JFM still being on the field. There's nothing wrong with those guys. CJ Mosley, there's nothing wrong with those guys. So I'm excited. I mean, the defense, I don't know. It's still a question mark. I don't know that we're going to be, I'm not saying we're going to be great, but I'm feeling pretty confident we're not going to be 32nd in the NFL, especially with an offense that can keep them off the field.
Exactly. When you have the depth, even if you have an injury, it will make you that much better. And, these guys, they have leaders. They have winners on this team now, on this defense in particular. They are going to show some of these other kids how to play, not just how to play, how to practice, how to watch film. They're not just going to create good football players. They're creating better men. And by creating better men, you're going to have a better team. And you're going to have a better mental approach. And it's not just about your talent, and you're not going to be as fragile. If something goes wrong, you're not suddenly going to collapse like a house of cards in the middle of a tornado. So that, when I hear about the mentoring, like Carl Lawson watching film with JJ already, how could you not be excited about that? And, the only way you can't really be excited is because if you've been a Jets fan so long and you're so beat up, and I get it. I get if you feel that way. I've been, I'm 40 now. Okay. I've seen some good years, but not what I would call great years. To me, it's that you're just so concerned about getting your hopes up because you don't want to have them dashed. But here's the thing. You can't only be happy when you achieve the highest levels of success. You have to appreciate the ride. We're on the way up right now, and we've been on the ride down for a long time. So we got to remember these moments. We got to embrace these moments and keep looking for ways to get just a little bit better and a little bit better, so that right now we could compete for a wild card spot, but what will it take to next compete for a division, and then maybe a first round bye, and then a home playoff game. Did you know that we might be allowed to actually get one of those one day? That the league didn't even pass a rule that forbid us from having them. So it's good. This is one step at a time. That's how Joe Douglas is building this. So, let's watch it. Let's embrace it.
No. So you think if the Jets start 1-8, their average loss was 3 points, do you still think they give up on Zach's? The Zach situation is very tough. It's very hard to imagine them giving up on Zach Wilson in his second year. It won't be good news. It'll suck. It'll absolutely suck if he doesn't if he regresses. That's going to suck for everyone, and the coaches will be. But I think the coaches know something we don't know. They're watching him in practice. They watch him in when they're talking strategy, when he's talking through the plays. They're not stuttering. They believe it's so obvious when they talk about him. They believe from everything they see that we don't see that they got their quarterback, and these are guys that have seen successful quarterbacks. They really believe it. So. Look, it depends on how he plays. I mean, if he's just not learning, and he's making the same mistakes over and over again, then I guess, that's the only way I can foresee, imagine giving up on him at any point is because, like, early on or during his second season, is that he just gets worse and he's not learning. But it's just impossible to imagine that because you saw the progress he made year one. It's not really something I think about even as something that's going to happen. I don't think that Zach Wilson is going to be held accountable on his own for the team's record. So it definitely depends on how he plays. The thoughts on him are going to be the way he plays. I think that their first thing on their mind, if he struggles, it's going to be is what's going on? How can we help him? It's not going to be we're giving up on him. Not in year two. Not after we've given up, put so much into him, and not after he's won them over with what they have seen in practice and what they've seen out of him. It's going to take a little bit longer to undo that.
And I'm glad that they have reduced the coaching staff down a little bit. I was a little worried about maybe too many voices in the room and that sort of a thing. But, Zach Wilson made tremendous jumps in high school, his second year in high school, his second year in college. I have no reason to believe he won't make another jump in the pros. I can't think of a realistic scenario of why he would regress. Now you might say, well, Y2K, why did Sam Darnold regress? I got 2 words: Adam Gase. It wasn't very complicated because he was looking better, in that last season against Houston, against Green Bay. We had legitimate hopes. I certainly did after that first season. And then things changed. We started changing over the offensive coordinator. We changed the head coach. We've got the whole staff changing over, and the personnel around him is substantially better at every single offensive position. O-line, running back, wide receiver, tight end. Plus, we have the immortal Nick Bawden at fullback for a whole year, which makes me even more excited, which I love fullback. So, hey, I'm good with it. So, for me, there is no realistic reason why he would regress, unless you're factoring in things like injuries. So, I'm not worried about it. Now, I've seen some people recently on Facebook, alleged Jets fans, who there's this one particular guy. I'm not going to mention the guy's name because he really doesn't deserve it. His nickname for Zach Wilson is AIDS. Because he feels like he is, I'm guessing because he feels he's that fragile. And to me, it is just so over the top ridiculous. To me, this is just a guy who decided because of maybe the way he looks or the school he went to or his height or whatever the case may be, that he was automatically going to fail, and he's already made up his mind. And to him, the verdict is already in, Your Honor, I rest my case. So to me, with some people like that, it's like, what is the beef that you would have with Zach? Like, why are you giving up on him? Dave, I'll get to that in a moment. But to me, what is the valid reason you have for saying that he cannot improve, that he cannot get better? I can't come up with a legitimate reason why.
The major majority of the NFL players get better as they play for the first few years. It's pretty common, particularly with quarterbacks. If you look at most quarterbacks and look at their career, especially successful ones, their statistics their first year weren't their best year. They got better. So just that alone makes us understand as football fans that the odds are that Zach Wilson's going to get better. Now, if you watched them play last year, you actually saw it happening in front of your eyes week after week, and then after his injury. And then on top of that, you saw the talent. Like, you saw the flashes. And it reminds me a lot of Josh Allen, because when he was on Buffalo and I was, playing, when we played against them, when I followed him just as a football fan, I was never thinking bust because of the flashes. I said, this kid, he had games where it was like, wow, he can do some stuff. And then we watched it unfold, unfortunately, right in front of our eyes and against us. But now it's our guy and it's our turn. And I think what you're going to see is you're going to see more flashes, still some mistakes, still growth. And then at some point, whether it's the middle of this season or sometime during next season or the beginning, whatever, at some point, you're going to see him find his stride. And he's going to be a very, very, very good quarterback and a very, very good weapon that other teams are going to have to pay a lot of attention to.
I think realistically, I don't have specific numbers that I have in mind for him. I think somebody had asked me, what do you want to see from Zach Wilson? I think I saw that. I think it was on Jake Asman's channel. I said, what do you want to see from Zach this year? I said, a couple of last-minute game-winning drives against a good defense. I want to see him take the ball with the money on the line and lead us to a score to win the game. It's not about the numbers to me. I want to have the feel that the kid is a winner, and I think he's in the position to be that winner. And does he have the it factor to be the best in the league? I don't know about that. But I feel like with what's around him, He almost doesn't need to be that, but I don't think it's too much to ask him to be in the upper echelon of quarterbacks this season, like to be in the upper half of quarterbacks. Now, some might say, well, he was like 31st in the rankings last year. Well, I don't think the jump is too unreasonable. I really don't. When you put what you've put around him, and now that you have Michael Floor in the booth for the whole year, which somehow he suddenly turned into Bill Walsh, to me, there's no reason why this can't happen.
Well, there's so many things that can improve, right? So it's not just him. You're right. First of all, he's going to have an offensive coordinator that's more experienced from game one. Number two, he has better talent around him. I mean, just night and day, right? We got rid of the worst and weakest part of our team in Van Rotten, and we're sticking in a Pro Bowler instead. And then we get Becton back. And then we add on Breece Hall, who might be spectacular. He looks like he's going to be spectacular. And you throw that on and add that to Michael Carter, who was getting better as the season went on. Then you throw Garrett Wilson in with a more experienced and improving Elijah Moore, and you bring back Corey Davis, and then you add 2 tight ends. I mean, it just goes on and on. How much better his surrounding cast is.
And what if Denzel Mims actually produces? What if he actually does something like 1 or 2 plays a game?
Lights
What
out.
if he was able to sneak in and all of a sudden defenses had to account for him? What if? I'm not saying it is, but just what if?
There's so many things. And I look at the plays where Zach was given time, where he wasn't under pressure, where we weren't the worst blocking offensive line pass, but like in the games where they blocked well or played well and gave him some time. And he was a different quarterback. And then when you consider the one other thing I didn't talk about is if this changes, if we don't have the drop passes, if we become just an average team in how many passes we drop, it raises his completion percentage by 5%.
Yeah, I think last year like 10-12% of his passes were dropped last year. It was alarming how many drops he had to deal with. Now, again, part of that to me, I don't know if that's 100% on the receiver. I wonder if part of that is on Zach. I mean, I could think of the one pass he had to Jamison Crowder deep in opposing territory, and Crowder had absolutely nobody around him. He was like on the 3, Zach was on the run. He throws the ball, and it goes off Jamison's fingertips and falls harmlessly to the ground because it was underthrown. Right. Little things like that, now that has to be fixed.
Oh, yeah.
So to me, I think he had to learn a little bit, for lack of better words, on how to phrase this, almost how to play the game mentally. Like to not overthink certain things, like knowing when to slide, knowing when not to slide, and when to start timing your slide. Because there were a couple of times when he slid maybe a second or two too early, just a couple of yards sooner than he needed to. But that stuff can be taught. You can't teach things like accuracy and how to throw the ball deep and how to escape. That's just a God-given gift. Those are things he can do. But some of these like other skills, those can be taught, and that's where I expect the big jumps this year. And that's, I think, only going to help to make the offense more efficient and more exciting to watch.
I think when Zach finds his rhythm and feels more comfortable in the offense, the accuracy that we saw in college from him and that we've seen at times will come back. I think that's part of just being uncomfortable and overthinking. I think once he's very comfortable and in the rhythm of this offense, you'll start to see the accurate Zach Wilson. And he is very accurate. He's accurate to the point in college. He was so accurate. It wasn't just because of completions. He was very specific with ball placement. He was the kind of guy who put the ball right in the right spot where the defender couldn't get it, but his receiver could. He's very, when he gets comfortable, everyone's going to see the Zach Wilson that you're dreaming of seeing. I believe it. I'm very confident in it. So Jerry Crawford is in Minnesota. Wow. So, but from New York. Hey, I'm in Sacramento and I'm from New York.
Been
I've been laughed at for being a Jets fan. I've been laughed at for being a Jets fan.
Usually snickered at is the way I would say.
And you want redemption. I want redemption. So we have a lot in common. Hey, if you're enjoying the content and enjoying the show, make sure you sub to the channel, my friends, and we'll give you all the company you need this year. So you're not alone out there in Minnesota and you feel like you have Jet fans around you.
I thought Bears Packers was intense because I lived, as you know, I lived in Chicago for a long, long time. Then I went to a wedding, and the groom was a Vikings fan and the bride was a Packers fan.
Mm-hmm.
It was so serious that the minister, and this was in Minnesota, the minister is a Vikings fan, actually mentioned it during the wedding vows. And you would hear, and half the room was cheering and half the room was booing. It was like, that's how serious Vikings Packers gets. So yeah,
Wow.
that stuff is real over there.
Yeah. So I mean, Kelly Wilson pretty much sums it up. There's so much that can improve for Zach that was not out of his control. So many things are improving for him. The talent around him, the coaching staff coaching him, the bad luck can only get better. He can't get worse than these numbers. And then that's not even including his natural growth, that he's going to learn the playbook. He's going to know the playbook a lot better. He's going to be more confident. Like, quarterbacks get better their second year. There's a natural progression. I think we're going to see a very big jump because there's so many factors that are going to help him be more successful than we saw him be.
Hey, Kelly, psst, do us a favor. Take these numbers. Send them to Brady Quinn. Tell him those are statistics. He might want to look at them sometime. It might help him do his job better. See how we bring it full circle around here?
Yeah, we're beautiful at that. And look who's in the chat, everybody. We are blessed with I think it's been about 4 weeks now since he's found his celebrity. We are blessed with the presence of Iowa Jets fan.
Oh, I thought you were talking about your wife. She just showed up.
Is she in the chat now?
Oh, yeah, she showed up. He said, do you want dinner?
Green Bean's there too, so now they can start talking about me. How are you married to him, Jocelyn? Okay, so
I may come to the same conclusion in a couple of weekends, but we'll see.
Exactly. Oh, you could ask her in person when we're eating pizza. I don't think she ain't showing up. She's going to be there. Zach is going to rock the entire league's nuts off. Brady Quinn will have to admit to everyone that he doesn't actually watch pro football because he doesn't understand it. Well, that's certainly the way it appeared when he was on the field. It certainly appeared like he didn't understand it. Very good take.
Yeah, maybe stick with the college game. Maybe that might work well for him. But
yeah. Anyway, what was Green Bean saying? He's chiming in again.
He
took a break from editing one of his videos, and what does he got to say? I have zero concern for Zach outside of injuries. He has everything you want and progressed last season. I don't even understand why people wouldn't feel confident if they are watching. I agree.
Well, I'm not going to break any news here, but Jets fans by and large are going to lean towards the negative side of things, and the more we've seen, the more bitter we tend to be. So, yeah, I guess the only thing is maybe you wish he was I'm interested to see what he looks like in the preseason after all this muscle he's put on and the size he's put on, and see if that affects his throwing, if that affects his running. I want to see how that changes him. But to me, again, the most important thing is in between the ears. Want to make sure we want to know that he doesn't have the yips, that he knows to look off a receiver and go to this receiver, knows how to fool the defenses, how to fool these safeties. That's something you learn that you're not really going to learn as much in the college game. That's the type of thing that seems to be learned by making mistakes. So, you want to see him become the leader. We want to see him become, this is my team. We want to say this is Zach Wilson's offense. If we can convincingly say that by December, then we'll know we're on the right track.
Yeah.
Shoot, they got to start selling headbands in the Jet shop if they're not already. People be snatching those headbands right up.
Yeah. MM1024, new to the chat. Everybody, welcome MM1024. I don't know if you're sub to the channel. If you like the content and you want more of it, I'm going to keep it coming. Watch2K is going to keep it coming. So make sure you sub up. We've got other family in this show as well. Like when on Sundays we have Dom C. I have my boy Nick who's always on. So it's a lot of fun. Hope to see you around. I love your question. If Zach plays like he did in the Bucs game all year, how many wins do we get this year? Well, we were playing against a team that was a Super Bowl competitor, right? They're a team that won a Super Bowl. They're a team that came within, into the playoffs, deep into the playoffs. Within 2 games this year, they went deep. And yet we played toe-to-toe with them with a young team. I say that if we played like that every game at that level with our starters and with all of our new additions, but like it's hard to say. It's so many different guys because we were so injured and maimed. But if you're saying if we play like that in the sense of everybody stepping up and playing to their potential, the way our backups played last year, and Zach plays like that as a game, just being smart, making good decisions, and being protecting the football. In that case, it would be very hard to imagine not winning 10 games, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, with the Avatar, it looks like Joe Douglas went to a Flava Flav tribute tryout or something like that. Like he's auditioning or something. I think 10 wins is realistic if they play that way. Now we know the ebbs and flows of a football season, between injuries and calls by the referees and all kinds of crazy things are going to happen. A made kick here, a special teams play here. All kinds of crazy stuff is going to happen. But if they could put out that kind of an effort, at least, I definitely think 10 wins would be possible. But it's hard for me to imagine them going past 10. But hey, if we went 4 wins to 10 wins, who wouldn't love that?
Yeah. There was a question here. Wait a second, 1 second. Here we go. I don't think I ever answered this question, though. I know that I saw you asking it, saying Zach Wilson having ADHD helps or hurts him or has no effects. I think ADHD is it's interesting because it's kind of like there's a spectrum to ADHD. It's not just one level of ADHD. There's people who live with ADHD and function fine even in school, and then there are people that need to be medicated because they can't function in school, and there's everything in between. So from my experience with ADHD, to be pretty blunt, it never impacted me in sports unless I was playing the outfield and got bored and wasn't paying attention. But it never impacted me during the action of sports. As a matter of fact, I think in a lot of things I got very good because of it, because there was an ability to focus. Sometimes sometimes you can rein your ADHD into a very specific focus. It depends on the type, and it depends on, or not even everybody, people with ADHD display both kinds. Sometimes you're distracted, you're easily distractible. And then sometimes you can't even respond to people around you because you're so focused on something. Usually if you're doing something you're really interested in and something you love, you're so focused you can't even react to anything. That's why people with ADHD have trouble sometimes transitioning, because they are so focused on what they're doing, they don't want to be interrupted, and they have a hard time reacting to it. So I'm guessing because of his success up to now in his life, that he's one of those that gets very focused on where he is during a game. And I think it may even act as an advantage because he's so focused. He might be what sets him apart in not being afraid. And I wouldn't be surprised if there are a lot of great NFL players that have ADHD, that live with ADHD, that are great for the same reason, because how else do you play a game that's so violent and so dangerous without thinking about it? Maybe for a lot of them, that's how they do it, because they're so focused on the game. They're not thinking about all the things that might harm another player and distract another player. Like, I don't want to get popped by that guy. I don't want to get hurt. I mean, who knows? But he's gotten as far as he's gotten, and obviously he's able to focus that ADHD because he spends hours watching film. He's supposedly a great student to the game, and it certainly and sure as hell hasn't hurt him up to this point in his life.
Yeah, so I'm looking at a couple of. I know this is shocking, but I'm not a doctor yet. Maybe one day I'll think about that. But just looking at some of the symptoms of ADHD. Now, think about if you have these traits. If you have a chance to succeed as a quarterback on any level, like in college football, let alone pro football, makes careless mistakes and lacks attention to details. Well, you better be detail oriented. Has difficulty paying attention to tasks. Seems to not listen when spoken to directly. If he was having issues with the coaching staff, if he wasn't listening, we would know about that. Has difficulty organizing tasks, This one I thought was a good one. Avoids, dislikes, or is reluctant to participate in tasks requiring sustained mental effort. So, to me, as much dedication as it takes to be a successful quarterback, between physical preparation, mental preparation, film study, gym time, all of that, being on the field with your teammates, organizing. Hey, look at Zach organizing these workouts with his teammates. If the ADHD was making that big of a difference, he would be doing these things and he would be drowning in all the detail. So to me, it off the field, it definitely does not affect him. Now on the field, part of it is hyperactivity. Could that potentially be an issue? Maybe. We can't pretend to get inside his head, but if there's a situation where he might be overthinking something, it's possible that we could attribute that to some level of ADHD. But at the end of the day, it's not something that we're going to know, and it would only be speculation. Mims will make a huge difference. He's being slept on. Well, he's going to have an opportunity, and let's see. He has every opportunity. I'm not expecting much from Mr. Mims at this point. So, but hey, he has the opportunity to prove us wrong, and I'd rather be happy than wrong than sad and disappointed. Sad and disappointed, right and disappointed is what I meant to say there. How many rushing yards will Zach Wilson get? His escapability is special. Reminds me a lot of Russell Wilson. Yep, I would think Ben Roethlisberger should be a weapon we utilize. More thoughts?
I think my guess would be around 400 in that territory, 350 to 400 yards. I think they don't want to have to utilize it. I think they'll let it come organically, like the way it did against Jacksonville. Pocket breaks down, his instincts take over, the elite escapability is there, and it happens, then fine. I don't think it's something they want to happen too much because, quite frankly, if you run too much with your quarterback, it shortens their career, just like a running back. And I don't think that's what they want. So it's not them not utilizing it. I think they will utilize it in the natural, organic sense. Like throughout his career, he's going to be a guy, when he's under pressure and the pocket breaks down, he's going to be able to make a lot of big plays for us that a lot of other quarterbacks wouldn't be able to make. I don't see them designing plays or setting up situations for him to run more, especially if we're effective running the ball, if we're an efficient great offense that's moving the ball anyway, and we have other ways to succeed, and we're scoring, eventually within the next, like the year after this one, and we get up into that typical West Coast offense when you have the right talent and when it's run well, and you're in that 28 to 30 points a game range. I just don't see them would want to do that with their franchise quarterback, but they're not going to be able to stop him when the pocket breaks down because that's just instinct.
Yeah, I wonder with these running quarterbacks what's going to happen. I seriously wonder at some point if Josh Allen's going to have a serious injury at some point, regardless of size. I mean, knees are still delicate. Ankles get sprained, hamstrings get torn, quads get pulled. You have to be careful with these rushing quarterbacks. Last year, Zach played 13 games. He rushed a total of 29 times. That's basically 2 rushes per game. That's it. And he ran for 185 yards total, 4 touchdowns. But one of those rushes was that famous 52-yard run. So if you do the math on this, that leaves 28 rushes for 133 yards. That's just under 5 yards a rush. So to me, if you do, I think 3 to 4. I think about 350 to 400. I like to see them use it a little bit more, but very, very limited. And I almost don't even think they would have a lot of designed RPOs because I think they are concerned about that, and they are going to be worried about his durability. So. Yeah, even though he does have speed, by no means is this RG3, is this Lamar Jackson. He's not that kind of a quarterback. And you know what? I'm okay that he isn't, but I'm glad knowing he could potentially make a play if we absolutely need him to do that.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think he would. I mean, look, think about the bright side. If he utilizes it and gets us a lot of big plays, that's great. If he doesn't utilize it, it's because he doesn't have to, because we're blocking well for him and he's able to stay in the pocket and make great passes. So we win either way. I think it's just a great weapon. It's just a great weapon that with a lot of teams, your quarterback gets sacked. And with Zach Wilson, it's going to be, some gain, some positive yardage, and sometimes even a big home run type play. But I do think that we'll see more of him doing it because there's going to be big holes. Like he might be in the pocket and no one's open, but there's going to be some giant gap. There's, because Becton and AVT and Tomlinson, I think, and we're getting used to the system. And I think you're going to see a lot of opportunities for him to take off and have a lot more positive yardage. Maybe we're being a little aggressive saying 350 to 400 now that I think about it. But I'm thinking, I just think of that long run against Jacksonville.
That's silly. Yeah.
I'm just thinking if he pops a few of them, a few like that and some 20-yard runs here and there, it might hit the 300 range. I don't know. Maybe I'm being, I'm not really thinking the math, but there are 17 games and he did miss a bunch of games last year. So there's a bunch of factors that can lead to his rushing number going up.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But again, when you have the pieces around you that you have, it's not as required to come up with as many gadget plays. I don't know if we'll see the level of gadget plays that we saw before last season because we needed to almost trick opponents because our talent was so inferior. That's not the case this year.
Yeah. Oh, you David have to have a conversation later. That's funny. Yeah. So anyway, we're talking. It's so amazing how many things there are for this team. We were talking about that gap before and having that big gap, and it makes so much sense because there's so many question marks, right? I mean, the offensive line. The only question mark, I mean, it doesn't matter to me how they end up starting and where they play. We're going to make the best out of that. It's not really that much of a question to me. I fully expect Becton to come back and be what he was his rookie year. I think he's going to be an elite left or right tackle, whatever. He's going to pancake people. People, I think, have forgotten how good Becton is. So I'm not worried about that. I think Garrett Wilson, rookie wide receiver, it's going to be interesting to see what, is he going to be like Chase was and be a dramatic impact right away? Or is that an anomaly? And he's going to be the typical rookie that has, that's in the beginning has to learn and kind of get a feel for the NFL. Is Elijah Moore going to explode? I think he can. Corey Davis, I believe he can come back and bounce back from last year and get, like you've said a million times, Adam, dropping passes has not been his part of his career ever. It was just one of those kind of things that happened last year. And I think it was just part of the breakdown of the team. It was just the stress on the team, Zach having to rush his passes. I think they were being like, what's that from that movie? They were in quicksand. So everything was going wrong and building up on them. And I think that affected them. And I think when things are going better for our offense, you're not going to see as many drops from Corey Davis. So the tight ends and, there's so much. The biggest question mark is Zach going to take that big step? How big of a step is it going to be? Jermaine Johnson, is he going to be a contributor right away? Carl Lawson, is he going to come back from the injury and be really effective right away? Those are the things I'm thinking about. Linebacker situation. Is there something is it going to be like with the secondary last year where we're thinking we're very vulnerable at linebacker and then that's going to end up being our best room or the room we're the most happy with? These are the questions.
I'm almost feeling overconfident about Carl Lawson at this point. The more time goes on, the more excited I am to see him play. Mm-hmm. I just have so much confidence in him. The type of person he is, how hard he works. I feel like you almost have to chop his leg off, to finish him off. Mm-hmm. That's how much admiration I have for the kind of player that he is and the way that he works and the influence he has on the rest of this defense, because he really seems to. For me, like you mentioned, basically half of the defensive starters are new. I do wonder how long it takes for them to mesh and to work with each other, because this is not like we've talked about, the Bills, who had a couple of years to really grow together, and then eventually they almost didn't even need to give signals to one another. They just knew where the other player was going to be. They could just go on instincts. We're a little ways away from that. So to me, how quick does this defense get it together? And they're playing, as we all know, they're playing some good offenses. Now, they're different types of offenses, but they're all what I would describe as decently capable offenses. So I think early on, I need to see some quick impact from the offense. I don't feel like there should be much of a feeling out process here. I want to see quick impact. I want to see a scoring in the 20s early on. I really, really do. To me, there's no excuse why this team should be have multiple games where they score single digits like they did last year. So, yeah, I really think it's time for the offense to, take the lead as far as the Jets go, and that's not something we're very used to as Jets fans, where the offense seems to be leading the way instead of the defense or even the special teams. It feels like we've had years where the special teams was the most potent part of the Jets, like that was the most explosive part, of the team. So. Yeah, so we'll see where that goes. Yep, linebacker depth. That's something we've talked about. We wanted to address linebacker. We've talked about it a lot. I think if Mosley gets hurt, I think Javian Sherwood steps into that spot. I think that's the guy that they have in mind because they think he has that leadership. Myself personally, I would like to sign Quan Alexander just because I feel we are really in need of some speed at linebacker. Not that I want to invest a ton of money in him, but I think that's the biggest position that needs to be upgraded on this team right now. But then again, when you have cornerbacks to the level that we seem to, and a defensive line on the level that we seem to with that kind of a pass rush, it makes life that much easier for your linebackers.
No. Yeah.
It's not a linebacker-driven defense. This is not Bill Parcells. So.
Yeah, I'm just surprised. I'm really surprised, to be honest. I would never have guessed that we wouldn't have addressed it at all, though. I mean, and we would just go in pretty much with what we had last year. I mean, I don't know, unless they love DQ Thomas and it turns out that he's ends up being this impactful guy, but nobody expects that from an undrafted free agent. They don't say, oh, we'll just address it in undrafted free agency. That's where we'll get our linebacker. I mean, there's some things about DQ Thomas that excite me. I think there's some potential there, but not this season. I'm not thinking going in, oh, well, we got DQ Thomas. So it's interesting to me. I mean, I think that what it must really mean, not only do they love Sherwood, but also they must really believe in the development of Quincy Williams. Now that they're going to have a full offseason with him and a full camp, I think that they really believe that they're going to coach him up and he's going to get a lot better because he had some great moments. And I think, but he also had some bad ones, and maybe they're coachable moments. Maybe they believe we can coach the negative out of his game and he's going to be a very impactful linebacker. They might believe that.
Well, I appreciate that they have faith in the players that they do have, but it's hard to change somebody's instincts. And to me, I look at guys like Quincy Williams, and when he makes the big plays, great. But when he doesn't, it's usually it can lead to long gains for the other team. So Jonathan Taylor took advantage of that for sure. Yeah, you just can't have an average defense if you can't contain ground yards. Yeah, I feel the exact same way, and I've been very vocal about it. Now, I think the biggest advantages to the run defense this year as opposed to last year, it's Jordan Whitehead. I think Jordan Whitehead is going to play up front and almost act as that safety linebacker hybrid, and he will hit running backs. He does not miss tackles. So I think that's going to be one of the big advantages that we have. But in terms of, I guess my concern is having that 3rd and 1 or that 4th and 2, and you name the running back. This running back gets sent up the middle. Can we make that pivotal stop? Until they prove that they can do it, I'm not sure that they can.
Yeah. They look. It had. I mean, part of it too could be the defensive line. Having these guys back, but the I mean, this is just that's the most basic football, and it's worth saying. I mean, it's very simple and it's very true, and sometimes we overlook it and don't say it enough. You have to stop the run. You absolutely have to stop the run. If a team could just run on you, we saw it happen against Indianapolis. We saw, it's just impossible to win the game. I mean, it puts you in such a bad situation. And what we want to do is we want to be the team that makes the other team not be able to stop our run, right? We want to dominate that game. We want to be the ones that run on the other team. Otherwise, it's going to be a long year for us. If we can't stop the run, it's going to be a very long year.
Isn't it extra demoralizing? I feel like it's even more demoralizing when you get beat by the run. Because this is such a passing league now that when you see Jonathan Taylor or whoever else running up and down the field all day long, making these cuts, running in this open space, going down the sideline, it's like you're getting beat down in slow motion. It's just like, this plays about, yep, he's gone. As opposed to just boom, boom down the field. Here comes the long bomb. It's just like you can almost see the team score. It's like, oh, this is going to be about a 30 or 40-yard run. And that happened in several games last year. And to me, that can be more embarrassing. Because if you're facing the other quarterback, a wide receiver, and this is just a perfect throw, perfect catch, good coverage, what are you going to do? But when you get a hole like that, it's like, are you not even prepared? I mean, how could you get fooled like that? It almost feels like you're losing a mental battle as opposed to a physical battle. And to me, I have far less patience for mental errors than I do physical mistakes. If agree, yep, Matthias, yeah, absolutely. The Jets scored the third most points last year in the last decade, 70 more points than the year prior. I'm not following this.
I'm not following that because there's no way we scored a lot of points last year. Or did we score that few the year before? It doesn't make sense. I don't know.
The third most points last year in the last 10 years. Last year was the third most points we've had in the last 10 years. Oh, wonderful.
Wow.
Well, we would like to thank Eddie Pinheiro for his accuracy for making this possible.
Charles Florio. Were you guys also shocked when RS said Drake London was WR1 on the board? Did Robert Saleh say that? I didn't hear that. JD was acting. I heard JD tell a different story on the Rich Eisen show.
It's been a little bit confusing about what the actual truth is, but our favorite beat reporter, Connor Hughes.
If you're getting it from Connor Hughes,
yep,
big grain of salt.
Right. So let's see. Yeah, maybe a pound of salt. Yeah. I'm going back through his Twitter because he definitely did post something about this, but
because I heard
there was some disagreement over who the top wide receiver was, but he was kind of indicating that Drake London was up there, that they wanted the outside wide receiver, and then they were going to move Elijah Moore to the inside into the slot. But now Davis is their only full-time outside receiver, and now they can rotate Moore and Wilson between slot and the other outside receiver. And see.
JD told a story that when Atlanta took Drake London, they celebrated because they knew Seattle wasn't going to take a wide receiver.
I celebrated.
Celebrating because they wanted Garrett Wilson.
I celebrated.
I believe, I'm not 100% sure. I think that's what Joe Douglas said on the Rich Eisen show.
So he said that, let's run down that Sauce, Wilson, and JJ were 3 of their top 8, right?
Yeah.
3 of the top 8 sounds right? Okay. So that also means that Drake London was ahead of Garrett Wilson. So he was also in the top 8. I mean, Is that something we could safely assume?
I think so.
All right. Well, I mean, if that's the case, I understand how the size is intriguing, but to me, I like the versatility of Wilson, and that he's more of an all-around wide receiver, and that he does get the separation that Drake London has not shown yet that he can. So to me, I think everything kind of fell into place, and we've been through this enough. But yeah, it does surprise me that that they would say this now. So I can see JD having a conversation like, Robert, shut up. Don't give that. Please don't give any more draft board info out. We'd appreciate it. Thank you very much.
So, for anyone who likes the video, if you're enjoying it, if you like it, only if you like it, if you've been liking the show and you haven't hit the like button, can you do me a favor and just smash it now and get me to 50? Just let's break that little 50 barrier. Otherwise, it's going to drive Grandizer crazy. It's not for me. I'm telling you, Grandizer goes nuts with that. When you like 49, come on. Like, it's just going to kill him. It's going to ruin his day. Oh, I'm late. Well, you are late, man, but you probably just got home from work or something. I bet. Something like that. But what I always like subtract about 5 hours from my time. And that's the time it is on the next day with Braden. So 9 o'clock, it must be like 4 p.m. ish on Thursday. 4 p.m. on Thursday, right? Like 4:57.
Are we going backwards?
57. So it's about to be like, it's around 4 o'clock on Thursday, right, Braden? Tell me if I'm right.
It's Thursday?
For him, it's Thursday.
Really?
Yeah. It's like,
so he's ahead then.
It's like 4 p.m. on Thursday.
Okay. I thought you were subtracting 5 hours from West Coast time.
No, subtract 5 hours and then add a day.
I see. Okay.
It's just a shortcut. It's an easier strategy.
It feels like we're talking to. It's like talking to Braden in the future. This is pretty radical.
Oh, you need to go home from work, mate.
Day before opening day. Hey, how are the Jets going to be doing?
Look up. Exactly.
You already know it's tomorrow over there. It's Sunday over there. What's going on in the game?
Yeah, it's 4 o'clock, mate. I just ate a meat pie. Okay, so I do the worst New Zealand accent in the world.
I still need to figure out the difference between the New Zealand and the Australian. Because I always think meat pies are Australia, so I still want to. I don't want to do the Australian New Zealand thing because I'm worried that's going to offend him. So I don't want to. Where am I going to go? The koala.
I was number 50. All right, thank you, Vervain. I appreciate that. So we're always on your page. Okay, I just want you to say the name of it because there's a bunch. I mix up all the different names and everything. I didn't want to say the wrong name of the page, but I mean, I'm usually commenting. I don't go on Facebook as much. Like, I just don't as much anymore. But when I do, it's only the Jets pages. Like, it's 80% of my Facebook activity is pretty much Jets now. Like, it's just like I'll go onto Facebook, read some of the things they're saying on Facebook, and and I'll make a comment or like something, and that's it. I don't have much need for Facebook anymore. For me, my life is work, my wife, and this channel. Like, that's my life. So everything that I do is evolved around the Jets. I go on Twitter for my Jets, for Jet stuff. I go onto Facebook to see what people are saying about the Jets. Maybe a little bit of the Mets too, and the Rangers, like other sports, there's other teams, and maybe just to reach out to a friend. There are some friends that I'm only in touch with, through Messenger on Facebook because they live in Europe. So it's the easiest way to stay in touch with them.
Jerry asking, do you guys ever come to Alexandria, Minnesota? I own a restaurant. Come down. Would love to take care of some fellow Jets fans.
Oh, who's that? I'm going to get to that in a second. I just want to tell Braden, not yet. I forgot, but I got to tell my wife, goodbye pork pie. I got to text my wife and find a way to remember that because she will love it. I mean, we like that other famous Australian movie.
Crocodile Dundee?
No, the one with the wedding, Muriel's wedding or whatever. Oh, but he's in New Zealand, so I keep making that mistake. This is different. This is a New Zealand movie so I don't know if I've ever seen a New Zealand movie.
All right. So let's see. Alexandria. This is kind of in the middle of the state, a little bit northwest of Minneapolis, not far from St. Cloud. And shockingly, there's a lake nearby. Go figure. Town of Minnesota's got a lake near it.
Wow.
All right. They got a dairy. Well, I'm looking on Google Maps, and the first two restaurants I see are Dairy Queen and Burger King. Jerry, which one do you run, the Dairy Queen or the Burger King?
Which one?
I said, which restaurant do you run, the Dairy Queen or the Burger King? Which one are you treating us to?
Hold on, let me find out. You guys ever come to Alexandria? But by the way, I've been to Alexandria. Wait a second. That's not the Alexandria I've been to.
Alexandria, Virginia is right outside DC. I've been
Right.
there
That's
quite
the
a few times.
Alexandria I've been to.
That's what I
many
was hoping.
times.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been to that one.
That is a bougie suburb, guys. Bougie is Alexandria.
My first Peruvian restaurant. I mean, I lived in DC for a while, but my first one before I ever lived in DC was in Alexandria. I was on a business meeting and we ate in a Peruvian restaurant.
Jerry, I
Alexandria.
run the Perkins restaurant. There you go.
Come down. I would love to take some. He
That's
does?
Yeah, he
Are
said
you
Perkins.
working out?
It's Perkins. I hadn't seen a Perkins in a long time.
Dude, there's plenty of good food at Perkins, man. They have a full menu.
I haven't
Nice
seen
American menu.
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen one in years. So
Okay, so if I am ever in Minnesota, man, I used to travel for business. I remember the only airline that went through Minnesota, because I think I maybe once did it. Tell me if I'm wrong, Jerry. Maybe they got bought, or I don't even know if they still exist, but Northwest. But somehow I remember Northwestern or Northwest being the only freaking airline that went through Minnesota. But when I used to travel before I was in education, was in high tech and sales marketing, there would be a chance that I'd be there. I don't know how I'm going to get to Minnesota or what's going to bring me there. But if I'm ever there, I will come and I will hang out with you at Perkins. I'll even broadcast the video from there.
I would do the same. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Dark Soldier just watched Dirty Harry this week. I know what you're thinking. Did he fire 6 shots or only 5?
Dark Soldier's like, what? WTF is Perkins? Perkins is a family restaurant. It's
Like
like
a family restaurant, bakery. Yeah.
yeah, right. It's like a family's kind of thing. Mimi's Cafe, Perkins. What's the one with the C? Cambia. I forget. There's what?
Marie Callender's? No, I don't know.
Calendar. Oh no, but there's another.
There
one
used to be
that starts
Baker
with C.
Square. Baker Square is what we had in the Midwest, but they're pretty much gone. They were known for like pies and it's like
Cracker
Denny's-
Barrel.
Cracker
right?
Barrel, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Calendars or colanders, something like that.
Marie
It's one of
Callender's, I think, is what you're thinking about. Yeah.
Oh,
For me,
yeah.
I'm not the biggest Cracker Barrel fan, but every time I go, I got to get the fried apples because those are stellar. Yeah. Just give me my fried apples, and as long as I could get down to say 2 T's in the tea game, I'll be pretty happy.
Yeah, maybe they're just not in Utah because it's like nope, they didn't make the they're not in Utah. We don't have Perkins in Utah.
Not in the Southeast, not in Chicago. I can assure you of that.
J. Cole is saying that they're in Iowa. Oh, he's saying hello to Iowa. I thought he was saying there was Perkins in restaurants in Iowa.
Oh,
Iowa.
J. Cole's conquering Iowa now. Okay.
Yeah, but it's a good question though. Iowa, are there Perkins in? You saw one in Florida, but do they exist in Iowa? So discussion question. Oh, here we go. This will be fun. Discussion question. Watsuke, I love it. He's only asking you, so I won't answer. Do you like Garrett Wilson wearing number 17?
Yes, thank you for framing it as a discussion question because we all need that. 17, yeah, I like 17. I'm not into wide receivers with a single digit. I don't think that looks right on them. So for me, 17, yeah, I think that's a cool number. I think on that particular uniform, it's going to look good. So, yep, 17, I'm down with it. Let's go.
Their breakfast. Oh, there's a place, not to make it all about food, but there's a place in North Carolina in Cary, and it's a chain. So you probably heard of it too. I don't know if you've ever went to one of these places. Okay. I never heard of it until the last time I was there. The last time I was visiting my parents, I told my brother I want to go to Bojangles just because I'm craving biscuits and gravy. And my brother says for breakfast, and my brother says, "You're not going to Bojangles for biscuits and gravy.
No,
you're bringing your ass to Biscuitville."
Biscuitville.
Have you ever heard of Biscuitville?
I've heard of a couple of biscuit places. I gotta be honest. There's so many biscuit places that it gets confusing. From the Handsome Biscuit to Biscuitsville to Biscuits and Porn. It gets pretty overwhelming. It's just like I gotta try like all these places and see how they really are. But my thing is, I'm not a big biscuits and gravy guy. But they do have 2 Biscuitvilles in Raleigh. They have one in Cary. So yeah, we could definitely try it. For me, I'm simple. Here's the thing: I prefer like on a bagel or an English muffin because I don't like it if the biscuit's going to like fall apart. But we have a place here in Virginia where I am that's called the Hanson Biscuit, and they make their biscuits with sweet potato flour. So you got the sweet potato base. You put like some fried chicken, a nice piece of fried chicken on that. Oh my gosh, they do like a honey mustard version. They do the chicken with like some bacon and blue cheese on top, and then they got the breakfast sandwiches too. They make their own hot sauce. If nothing else got your attention, they make their own hot sauce.
I was like, yeah, baby. Well, I'll tell you what about Biscuitville. They do have sandwiches on English muffins too. But
I give it a try. I'm good with the biscuit on the side, but I just don't like it when a biscuit falls apart in your hand. You know. Yeah. That's my thing with biscuits.
Well. Anyway, it's right on 55 when you turn off of not Cary Parkway, the one that we were talking about that goes through High House. Is it? Yeah, I think it's
High House Road. Yep, absolutely.
High House and 55, the corner of High House and 55, near the Starbucks over there.
Let me see here. So 8, 2, 3, 4. We're guys. We're planning our trip in 2 weekends, and you're gonna be like our travel agent. That place is literally.
Did the Mets win?
They won. Yeah, they poured it on late, but big deal. Scherzer's hurt. It's hollow. That Biscuitville is literally 10 minutes away from where my mom lives. So that's a breeze.
Yeah.
California avocado Benedict and a larger. I like that idea, but the OJ better be fresh. I admit I am high maintenance with my OJ. It better be fresh, and I want pulp. I am a pulp guy with my OJ.
I can hear my stomach growling.
Oh boy. You know what Costco's even selling it? I got a Costco membership. Do you go to Costco ever?
Do I go to Costco all the time? I mean, whenever I can, when I have time. I love Costco.
Okay, I got one.
If it's up to me and my wife, 98% of the food we purchase in the house would be like for shopping would be Trader Joe's and Costco.
There you go. I've got Trader Joe's 10 minutes away, and I've got Costco literally across the street. Okay, I can walk to Costco, which is actually good because then if I'm carrying stuff back home, I can only buy so much at the same time.
Well, now they put the Costco on 64. We're much closer to where our parents are. So
okay, yep, they got a couple over there. They're now selling burnt ends in Costco.
No, they're not.
Yes.
Are they good?
They're good. Now I got to put a little extra salt and pepper on them for me because I really want to taste the seasoning. But they were done in like 4 minutes. I put on a little South Carolina mustard barbecue sauce because I want to taste of that mustard. They were very good.
How did you cook
Very
them?
good. I know this is a criminal word, but they come in like one of those vacuum packed sealed packages. You microwave it for like 4 minutes, or you could put it in the oven.
Wow.
I just microwaved it for like 3-4 minutes. They were great.
Wow, man. We just had burnt tips about a week ago. There's a barbecue place here in Sacramento that's really, really good. And we got, I think my niece got it, or no, my wife ordered it. She got the burnt tips, and they were just...
They're a delicacy. When you can get them, they're special. Yeah. So for those, if you're not familiar, by the way, guys, with burnt ends, it's like you cook the brisket, you smoke the brisket. Now you have it's like a triangular shape. So you take that triangular point, which is normally chopped up. So you take that off, you re-season that inside and smoke it for another couple of hours. And the smoke and the spice becomes that much more intense.
Oh, this is totally... Yeah, Jerry, man, that's all. I'm all about
easy. That's easy.
And believe me, I will not leave a drop of food on the plate.
And Chris Pratt, Jeremy, I gotta keep this in mind. Remember, Chris Pratt again. He isn't here tonight, but he's in Kenosha, where Frank's Diner is, which is one of my favorite breakfast places of all time. The garbage plate is iconic with their homemade toast, and it's like a little dining car in the heart of downtown Kenosha. It's a pretty dead town right now, but my gosh, that little place, Frank's Diner, is just unbelievable.
Cool. Yeah. Cool.
I'm a French toast guy. French toast, pancakes, waffles. I like French toast, particularly with a good amount of cinnamon on it. Not a big, but I do love pumpkin pancakes. I always get the Trader Joe's pumpkin pancakes every fall, and I put in some toasted pecans because I like the crunch. Just pancakes, fine, but you put in some toasted pecans on there. Makes all the difference.
Yeah, my father is a very good, big French toast guy. And my mom, the way she made it, made me a very big French toast guy. Like, I loved it, man. And just as long as I got a lot of syrup on it, I'm a sweet tooth in that sense. Like, things that are supposed to be sweet, I need sweet. So, like, anything is always indulgent to me, like a lot. So, like, if you give me something like pancakes or waffles or French toast that go well with maple syrup, I'm the guy who puts more maple syrup on than anyone else. Like, where everyone else goes, that's disgusting.
I don't need the syrup. I don't need it. You can have mine. I don't need the syrup. I'm not going to take any from you. I'll give you both containers and you can have them. I did have an.
I drown them. I drown them in maple syrup.
Maple syrup just overwhelms everything. That's my issue. The only time I use maple syrup is if I'm making mashed sweet potatoes. It works pretty well. By the way, we have to. Conor McGregor and Hey Jeremy and Y2K from Ireland. Dang, we got both sides of both oceans here. This is great.
No, that's J. Cole.
Okay.
Conor
McGregor 7. I was like, interesting. Okay, I figured he backed out because J. Cole actually admitted he likes medium well steak.
Oh my God.
This explains a lot. And that's all I'm gonna say about that.
If you like medium well steak, everybody's entitled to the way they like it. I'm just saying that if you like your steak cooked like that, you may as well just go to Sizzler.
Or you may as well go to any boring generic Mexican restaurant that has steak that's like paper thin and just completely gray all the way through.
Oh, he says he likes it medium. Okay, which means he gave himself away. We knew it was him. You didn't trick us.
No.
But let me read this. No. You insulted him just a little bit. You were a little out of line yourself.
A little out of line. You're fugazi there. You should a little bit out of line there.
A little bit out of line.
I like it medium. Like I like it pink. I like it good and rosy pink. That's why I do the reverse sear on my steak. Black and blue. Yep, I know what you're talking
about. In a real steakhouse, like Peter Luger's or Ruth Chris, medium rare. In a real steakhouse. In a regular place that's like, it could be a nice restaurant. They have good steak, but they're not a real steakhouse. I'll say rare because if I say medium rare, it's always overcooked.
These places want to do the steaks a little bit under because they don't want to risk losing that steak. They would rather cook it just a tad underdone because they can always go back and cook it more. I went to Capitol Grill. I said medium rare. It was like blood red.
But anyway, I didn't realize we were around so late. We are well over our 2 hours showtime.
We are just when we were worried about, man, we're gonna have something to talk about. Chat, you come through and the topics they just write themselves. If David, now we absolutely know who Conor McGregor 7 is because that's like 10 posts in a row. But since David asked, I've told the story once before, I think, but I'll go ahead and explain it on this show with my name. So I went to a high school in Chicago called Wheaton Academy, in the west suburbs of Chicago. So we would say WA for short. And I graduated in 1999. So I was our yearbook editor, and that was during the Y2K scare. So it became Y2K, and then I just threw the 99 on the end of it. That's all it is. It doesn't have anything to do with Call of Duty. But hey, if you think it does, that makes it even better.
How badly is Max Scherzer hurt, do you think?
They said left side discomfort, which to me probably means his oblique fell off of him and he'll be out for a couple weeks. Because if he says left side, I gotta think it's got to be a strained oblique for a pitcher. It's gonna be weeks.
So 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
As tough as he is, you can't rush an oblique. It's like a hamstring. So we'll see. But they say he's gonna have more tests tomorrow. But I would be surprised to see him pitch anytime in the month of June. They're going to be cautious with him. So it's a good thing to have the depth that they do.
Well, he was there. You could always tell people that you were there the day that Scherzer got hurt and it all fell apart. Well, we won the game. So
somebody else in the chat said he was at a Mets game. I just can't remember who that was.
maybe we're going to get the injury bug out of our system now. And as long as we could stay in first place or stay in the hunt or stay right there, and then when DeGrom comes back and Scherzer comes back and everybody's healthy again, we can really go on a roll and be healthy for the playoffs. So let's hope that happens.
Got a tough stretch coming up with some of the California teams. I mean, it's not going to be easy coming up. So we don't. The Mets don't even play the Marlins, I think, until late June. It's pretty weird how that schedule goes.
I love that you're the Wicker Man now.
It took me a second to remember that was me.
I can't believe there's a chance we're going to be hanging out and you're going to end up meeting my parents.
That's pretty crazy. Yeah, I've already warned my mom about you, so she's heading to out of state. I'm just kidding. Now she's actually a tour guide at this point. Like she leads bus tours across the country at this point. So she does travel quite a bit, which she really enjoys. So
cool.
It's good.
Love it. All right, guys. Well, hey, I want to thank everybody who came. I want to thank all the new people who subscribed. I really appreciate it. I don't know why I'm talking like this. I just decided to. But I truly appreciate the new subscribers and the new people in the chat and all my OG originals who have been here forever and all the people that have joined in between. You make all of this so much fun. That's why we do it. If you weren't here, it would just be two guys for some weird reason talking to each other on a YouTube stream.
And I would be and I'd be the single one, so I'd have an excuse. You'd have no excuse. So.
That's right. It would be weird. But hey, guys, I'll see you Friday night. It's still to be determined whether it's on my channel or Nick Shine, proud Jets fan. It's going to be on one of those channels. I know that Long Beach Joe is wanting to hang out. So whichever channel it's on, he's going to be around. That'll be really cool. Maybe we'll see Y2K show up. You never really know, but that's when it could be anybody from our channel that's going to show up. It might be Dom C. It might be a bunch of people. So just look for that on Friday night. And of course, tomorrow is the big Green Bean show. It is the night to watch Green Bean. If you have a budget of how much you're allowed to watch the show, well, you want to watch our show, but like outside of our show that you are allowed to watch, you want to watch Thursday night with Green Bean and Frankie and me and Y2K in the back. Y2K comes in and does his trivia, and then I usually come in just because Green Bean feels sorry for me. And but we have a great time. It's a great time. Make sure you do not miss that on Thursday nights. That is tomorrow at what time does he go on tomorrow? At 8 o'clock?
8 o'clock typically.
At 8 o'clock. The Thursday night, what's the name of it? Thick of It, right? Thursday night, Thick of It.
Thursday, Thick of It. Wait. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So Y2K for mayor of Kentucky. I'm like, there's a couple of things I could respond to about that. Number one, I don't live in Kentucky. Two, Kentucky does not have a mayor. A governor is how that works. Yes.
So anyway, take care, everybody. And I got to make a new promo. As many as I make, and I think, I have a bunch now.
Gotta take some video clips. I was thinking about that. I don't need to keep hearing my clip about Kyle Hamilton. Who cares about that at this point?
So I'm going to do a new mirage of videos, a new Wacky Wednesday intro. It just takes a while. I have to download a bunch of long videos and find the key. It's a big pain in the neck, but I'm going to do it. I got 8 days left in the school year, and then I'm going on that vacation where I'm going to see you. And then the summer is a little bit lighter, and I'll have a little bit more time and energy to do this stuff. But anyway, guys, everybody, take care. Good night. I'll leave you with this.
That's Jet.
Don't not be Thibodeau. And here it comes. It's about to come in. Oh, my God. They didn't. They took Sauce Gardner. Oh, my God. They don't want an edge. Maybe he likes Jermaine Johnson at 10. Then we're not going to get a wide receiver?
Garrett Wilson, wide receiver. Oh, my God. No edge.
Who's sitting there?
The Jets traded up. Are we taking JJ? Are we taking JJ? Because I know Braden is in New Zealand saying, we should get Lily, Mike. He's definitely saying that. JJ! We got Johnson! We got Johnson at 26! We got Johnson at 26! This is great! Yes! They took Roger McCreary. They didn't take Dean. We traded up. We can get Jacoby Dean. We can get Jacoby Dean. It really is. They took Breece Hall. Wow. I mean, look, I love Breece Hall. But there's also Jeremy Ruckert, who I think is the best tight end in the class personally. They took Jeremy Ruckert. Yes! We got a Jeremy. Oh, and the Jets pick, and it's Max Mitchell, offensive tackle. We needed that. Wow. We took Michael Clemens. I never heard of him. A defensive edge